You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast. It's the podcast that talks about movies, TV shows, video games and board games. I'm your host Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man. And welcome. This week's episode is the last episode of our Spooktacular season in October. And instead of talking about famous horror series, we'll actually be talking about our favourite horror movies of all time. And once again, I'm joined by my favourite guys that love to talk about horror movies, Steve and Tim. How are you guys?
Hey, hello. Very well.
Just want to say, before we start, a big thank you to you, both of you guys, for coming in and doing this with me. And I hope you enjoyed yourselves and maybe come back next year for season 2 of Spooktacular season.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And thanks for having us.
No, thank you. I really, really do appreciate you guys coming down, sharing your horror movie knowledge, or movie knowledge full stop. And then obviously you're going to go into your top 5 laters of all time, eh?
Ooh.
That's how we had to finish it this way somehow.
It's the only way. It's a good way to finish.
We probably could have done another movie series, but it probably wouldn't have gone on as long.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are. So I guess we're going to start the show as how we always normally do. Horror movies, not just. Can you remember Sorry, let's start again. Can you guys remember the first time you watched a horror film? Or the first horror movie you ever got to watch?
Yeah, I can remember mine.
No. No, definitely.
Right, so go to Steve then.
I think just because it scarred us so much as a kid, and it was Jaws.
Okay.
Just like every time going swimming, even on like our school trips to just the swimming pool, me and my mates would always go like, "Oh, there's a shark under there," and he just like, it's so stupid. Obviously, we was young at the time, and we'd always be like, "Oh, Jaws 2's on tonight," or whichever one, and then you'd talk about it the next day. But yeah, it definitely gave us a little bit of a fear, and especially if I went on holiday going into the sea, I'd just freak out. You know, there's no sharks out there. It's way too cold. But
you've been affected by it. So much now.
I'm all right now.
I was going to say, are you still like? Well, I
sometimes will be in the swimming pool to shout, "There's a shark in the water!"
To be honest, I had the same sort of fear as you, right? Up until I got married to my wife and we went to Cancun for our honeymoon, right? And my back's to the sea. We're in knees deep in the water, whatnot. And all of a sudden, Lou says, "Oh, what's that floating there?" And I can see like this shadowy, dark grey blur in there, right? And it wasn't a shark in the day, it was a barracuda, and I still fucking pegged it out of the water so fast. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not staying for that." So mine was Aliens. To be honest,
second one.
Yeah, second one. But I didn't really see the whole movie. I kind of couldn't sleep one night. And coming to the living room, my dad was watching it. I think it was on Channel 3 at the time or something, or whatever. And unfortunately, I had to step in on the scene where the Marines get there first, and you see the chest burst for the first time in the movie. And then, I kind of was affected by that for a bit, but
I don't blame you. Some of the scenes are quite horrific in those films.
Well, it's one of my questions I'm going to bring up later, so I'll come back to that story in a minute. Do you remember yours as well, Tim?
Well, I kind of had the same thing like Steve. I mean, I think everyone, a child in our generation, kind of had that fear of water. When I went to Germany, swam the Baltic Sea on the beach, and had the same thing. Whereas if I go further out, a shark will get me.
Okay,
so stay in the shallows. And I remember my granddad always used to swim further out. He used to tell me to come further in, and I was like, no.
No. That was my so yeah.
But yeah, I honestly can't remember the first one. I mean, I got a multitude of stuff as a kid, but I can't say what the first one was.
No, that's fair. So yeah, my next question actually was going to be, were you ever affected by it? But we kind of got your story to it. I remember, so going back to me seeing Aliens, I remember going into school the next day, and then I was just I kind of sat there and was wasn't pretending, I was kind of feeling like having these chest pains, like something was going to come out of me and whatnot. I was really, really scared by it. I mean, it really, really affected me as a kid. And, you know, I don't know if you ever have it. You guys have had that situation. Probably not your first horror, but did you ever have a horror film that kept you scared for a little while as a kid? Like, I mean, I used to have nightmares at one point, and they used to really like...
Well, I mean, for me, X-Files, so that was mid-90s about that, and it was obviously massive, wasn't it?
Alien craze, wasn't it, at the time of X-Files?
That used to scare. Just the opening credits with that sort of face that kind of like melts and stuff, it just used to freak me out. I mean, like, I'll happily admit, I used to be a right scaredy cat when I was just younger, and probably still am with certain horror films, but... X-Files in particular just used to freak me out. And I remember just like, you'd lie in bed and just keep seeing that image of whatever it was that scared you.
Yeah.
I used to collect a magazine. It was called The X Factor at the time, and it was all about like paranormal activity, Area 51, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it had an article in there about spontaneous human combustion. And for some reason, that just like freaked me out, that you could just be lying there and catch fire. Obviously, the chances of it happening is probably 1 in 6 billion or something.
Yeah,
but I used to just lie awake. Just I think your imagination just runs wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't meant to tell anyone that.
No.
Stay away from the chili sauce.
Tim, anything like that with you as a kid?
Not so much nightmares, like freakish moments when I watch stuff like, you know, like Neverending Story, those kind of ones.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Dark Crystal.
Oh, yeah, man.
Just images used to freak me out, but never...
The crab guys used to scare the shit.
Yeah, but never to a point where it would like affect me mentally, to a point where it's like, I'm going to like be fucked for the rest of my life.
No. Yeah, of course not, no.
But yeah, I'd say like, just those typical our generation kids films, which were depressing.
Do you remember the
depression?
Well, the Neverending Story is so depressing.
Absolutely, no, it is. Yeah,
that's a kids' film. It's about death and
the nothing,
loneliness, and yes.
Do you remember the? Did you watch X-Files a lot?
Not a lot, but I did see a few episodes.
Do you remember the episode where there's that thing in the sewers? And it comes up out the toilet. It was,
wasn't it like a worm guy? Sort of thing?
Yeah.
They catch it in the tube or something.
Oh yes, that's the one.
That's the one,
And that freaked the hell out of me, and I just couldn't go shit.
You remember the guy who stretches?
Yeah, that's Tombs. That was awful as well. But that one,
that was the guy who eats livers and stuff.
That's the
one. That was quite a freaky episode.
I actually remember that one very well.
Yeah, that's one of the all-time best, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the first one I saw, I think. Because I remember the hype. I never actually watched the show, but I remember people talking about it, and they always said about that episode. I remember watching that and going, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's the one that a lot of people recognise.
Yeah.
Like when you bring up X-Files, they bring that up, episode, didn't they?
Years ago, when Sky 1 brought out Sky 2, they did a thing where you had to phone in and vote for your favourite X-Files episodes, and they were going to show them back to back. I think Tombs was number one by far.
Yeah, again, it's the one, like Tim said, it's the one that everyone remembers at the end of the day, isn't it? But back to your toilet incident. Have you ever seen a movie called Dreamcatcher?
No.
I recommend it.
Just one scene, not the whole film.
No, not the whole film. I think it's like the first 20 minutes or something.
I'm sure if you just type in toilet scene on YouTube and Dreamcatcher, you'll find
Dreamcatcher toilet scene.
Yeah. Am I going to be scarred again?
It's a possibility.
Yeah, might.
It is a possibility.
Yeah.
So obviously you're fans of old and new horror films. I'm just wondering if what decade of horror films you guys are interested in more.
I definitely can't answer that one. It's a multitude of moods. I mean, it depends what mood you're in, really. I mean, I'm fascinated with all kinds, like the Hammer horrors I liked when I was a kid. I used to always watch those. 70s horrors had that weird kind of like psychedelic era, and the 80s horror had the gore factor. 90s had like the slasher teen stuff. So all multitudes of different stuff. Really, I couldn't pick one to define the best one.
That's fair.
But yeah, all good for many reasons.
Yeah. That's the right answer.
Yeah. I'll
that's the right answer for it. Steve?
Yeah, no, I'd go a lot. I mean, I think 80s does stick out in particular to me, but I get what Tim was saying. I think each decade had its sort of own personality of the horror sort of genre. I'd say 2000s you kind of had that. What's it like? Haunting in a house, ghosts going around. Is it paranormal activity? That kind of
13
style.
Ghosts. Hill.
I'd say 80s was definitely like up in the gore factor.
Yeah,
with really clever effects.
The video
touched
nasties.
on. I mean, for me personally, I'd say the 80s, but it's very, very difficult to pick one.
Yeah, it's like Tim says, it's what mood you're in and whatnot. Like, mine's the same answer as both yours. Is you can't pick one, but for me, if I had to pick one, I would like to say the 70s because I would like to go back and see their reaction when they first came out. I would have loved to have been there when Jaws was first out. I would love to have been there when Texas Chainsaw first came out. The Exorcist, just to see. You know when you're in the papers like, people fainted and the ambulance came out to
keep
come
telling
and get
yourself it's only a movie.
I would love to have been there just to see if that shit was true or not. You know what I'm saying?
It's just different time and era.
Exactly.
My mum's told me the story when she saw Exorcist for the first time and how it freaked her out for weeks.
Yeah.
And obviously when I first watched it, I cracked the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think was that after Jaws coming out, people started hunting sharks. You think like, really? Why?
Wouldn't surprise me. People still kind of do now, really, don't they? So fucking Jaws fans forever. So my next question, obviously, is going back to what you were saying of as Jaws. Now, do you consider that as a horror film? Well, I have a couple of others here. So Jaws is a horror film.
Definitely.
Would you consider the Hannibal Lecter films as horror films?
No.
Would you consider something like Lighthouse a horror film?
Yes.
Explain why.
Well, with Lighthouse, it's a supernatural element, so that's immediately horror.
Yeah,
it can be interpreted with the Lighthouse. It's all about what's in the mind. So not everything is concrete.
Yeah.
So, but that's like the horror aspect of human horror mind, maybe.
Yes.
So yeah, but definitely not Hannibal Lecter. That's a thriller.
Which is weird because he's considered a horror icon.
I don't get that.
Yeah,
I honestly don't get that.
What do you reckon, Steve?
I would say they're thrillers.
All of them.
No,
or just the Hannibal Lecter.
The Hannibal Lecter.
Okay, yeah.
Just purely because I think when you watch it, you're never really actually thinking anything's overly scary or there's no like jump outs as such, is it? It's very like there's like an investigation going on. There's a lot of interaction between characters, and horrors just necessarily aren't like that. They can be just quite simple.
It might be going back to what Tim was saying earlier about the mood it is when you watch it.
Yeah.
Because some people might see it as horrific and call it a horror.
Well, there's different. So even like with metal music, there's many types of metal music. You've got hair metal, you've got death metal, you've got hardcore. With horror, it's the same thing. You've got different types of horror genres. But with Hannibal Lecter, I guess what they're going for in the horror aspect is human horror.
Okay.
So maybe that's it. But
the rest of it...
But human horror is still thriller.
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree.
So
something like, say, Seven.
Yeah,
that was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah,
so that's like a brilliant film. It's got horror elements in it. It's got violence and crime scenes.
It's exactly the same as Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
It's a serial killer movie. So serial killer movies are thriller genres.
Yeah.
So why is Hannibal Lecter any different?
And in the year 2000, Empire released a compilation magazine about the greatest horror films of all time.
No.
And Fight Club was in there.
What?
Really?
I kid you not, Fight Club was in there.
No. It's not even classed as one.
Exactly. So I was like, there's no way you would class it, but again...
they're trying to be edgy and different.
It is. It's just like, I would never ever see something like that. I mean, I can understand maybe the ending of it might be horrific, everyone's going back to zero again. Some people might be scared of that, but I can't
if that's
see
the case,
it in a horror
if that's
film.
the case, Never-Ending Story is a bloody horror film.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
It's classed as a kid's fantasy, but it's a depressing film about death and grief.
Yeah.
So
Plus that wolf used to scare the shit out of me in that film, man.
Yeah. That's for kids.
So Jaws, would you consider that being a horror film?
Yes.
Even though it's a PG?
I don't think rating has anything to do with it.
No, Arachnophobia is a PG, and that's a horror film.
True. Yeah,
even the old black and white films are PGs, and they're horror films. They're the universal classics. So age range is not a factor, but Jaws is definitely a horror.
Because something like Seven, it never gives you that fear of a serial killer because we know there's serial killers out there. But I think with Jaws, it was that sort of not knowing what's beneath you. Nobody knew. When you watch that film, nobody really knows, do they, what's going on till sort of halfway-ish through the film. And saying it's hunting you like that, Jaws is definitely a horror, 100%.
Which would have been weird because the documentary where the shark wasn't working, I would have been interested to see the version if it was working, if it would have been a worse film or not.
It might have been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could have been more like
Jaws with a Reg.
It could have been more clunky and goofy looking if you'd seen it so many times. But the build-up works by seeing it less.
Yeah,
when you see it at the end,
less is more.
Yeah, it's the Hitchcock factor.
That's
what
and I think that's like a fundamental part of horror is your mind is an amazing thing, and it can come up with so many amazing ideas or interpretations of something. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you hardly see any violence, but it's what your brain interprets as what's going on in that scene. I think that is horror. It's brilliant like that.
Yeah, it's with the Jaws thing. It's man versus nature.
Yes,
and that is terrifying. So that's horrifying.
So over the years, horror has changed a lot. Like, for example, we had found footage movies, torture porn. We got the Blumhouse horror haunting films. Do you guys get into any of those types at all, or did you like them at first and now they've done to death too much? You're kind of like, I can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah, they've kind of peaked. They peak quickly because it's basically copy and pasting. It's been done to death. We've seen it all before. There's nothing new original. There are original horrors out there.
Of course, yeah.
They just don't get the main limelight because people want the same thing over and over again. They want nothing new or different. Something new or different does come out, but they'll look at it and say, that's not what I expected, therefore I don't understand it, therefore I'm just going to put it to one side and say it's rubbish.
Yeah.
When in actual fact, that's what you want, really.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's almost as if like they're killing the thing they love the most. It's like they want better horror films, but they keep asking the same thing over and over again. They get bored and tired of it. So it's like, well...
It's like being fed the same dish over and over, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They're too afraid to take a different journey.
Yeah.
But didn't you mention that with the Prometheus sequels and stuff?
Yeah.
At one point, it was like it was going a different direction. People didn't get it, so they were like, "We want this back," wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like fans being terrorists on demand, saying, "No, we didn't see any xenomorphs. We want xenomorphs," and then everybody just got caved in and said, "Like, oh, I'm going to listen to them." When a director should never do that.
Yeah.
Always believe in his own craft.
But did you so like for example when the found footage stuff come in, did you actually get into it? Did you enjoy it or?
So at first, because it was when Blair Witch came out, obviously that was great. I mean, that was fresh, new, and I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, this is before internet times.
Of course.
I thought it was a real thing. When people thought this is an actual real footage, and
the marketing campaign for that was unreal.
Marketing was so good. Channel 4 did a documentary before, like 2 weeks before it came out. I remember watching it just off the off chance. I was on holiday somewhere. It's like in Southend, I think I was. Yeah, I was in Southend with my parents, and then that just came on the TV. I was like, wow, I got to see this. And I remember watching it at the ABC cinema.
And the tagline for the film was "Everything you've heard is real" or something.
Yeah.
So they really did push it to make out like this is legit.
I remember going into I can't remember which one. I think it was H&P. They even had a missing posters,
yes, that's right. Yes,
movie posters, but saying missing. They made it look like legit. Like it's like these people are actually missing.
Yeah.
The police said, "Fuck it, we're going to put out and show the world." And I was like, they can do that? Yeah. I was like, the police
bust for a steel door.
Yeah, bust for a steel door. They can. Yeah, I was like, okay, interesting. I'm guessing because you don't actually see anything.
Yeah.
And my understanding was like, I don't see him die, so I'm guessing they're thinking, yeah, let's put it out there. And I thought, well, yeah, it was again just pre-internet days, so that was great, And then obviously every other film started copying it, and then it just became cliched, down to death, and then what else can you do with found footage though? I mean, it's just a one and done thing.
I quite enjoyed the Japanese horror at the start of the 2000s.
Yes, I was going to bring that up as well.
Which contained elements of found footage in it as the thing, But again, they just seem to then do those to death, and then you got sequels, and I don't think it helped that Scary Movie kept ripping all the
Yeah, but this was the thing with Tim saying about it was doing something different. I think that's why the world cinema horror boosted. Yeah. And then because people can't be asked to fucking read subtitles, it wasn't ever as popular.
So it's the American remakes.
Again, so the American remakes cashed in, and they were like, I can read it now, but I still don't get it.
I'll give credit to The Ring. I do like the American Ring.
The American version
is good.
The second one was crap, but the first one is actually really good.
I like the first one.
But yeah, it was just a shame how... Because I freaking love world cinema horrors. They don't do much of them now. days, really, do they?
Japan doesn't, no.
Yeah.
They used to. Yeah, early 2000s was definitely... Like, J-horror was massive. Korean horrors started to kick in at some point. They were good. But yeah, no, world cinema is very very underrated. I much prefer those because it's there's no copy and pasting.
Yeah.
It is like, because it's a different animal altogether to other horror films, so I prefer them. Yeah.
And what about any of, like, Steve, did you ever get into the torture porn phase at all? Like the Hostels, the Saws, again,
I
rinse,
enjoyed
repeat,
Saw.
same sequel.
I really enjoyed the
first
Saw
one,
film.
it's a classic at the end of the day, isn't it?
They were really good. Something a bit different. Obviously, had the twist at the end, which was good. I did like Grindhouse type stuff. I did enjoy those. Where you got like the comedy side to it as well.
Video nasties.
But the Hostel stuff, I just find that a little bit too much. It's just violence.
Never really got into them.
No, it was just shock factor on gore. There was no plot, characters, developments that you really cared about. It was mainly just like for Neanderthals to be like, oh, that was gory. I was like, well done.
It's like, oh, you asked for more. Here's this.
I remember when Hostel came. I remember when Hostel came out though, and people were talking about. Have you guys seen? You've seen it?
I saw it.
The eye scene.
Yeah.
People rant and raved about that so much. Like, oh my god, it's disgusting. And it's probably one of the most tamest parts of the film, to be honest. It's like, it's nothing you've seen more if you watch Saw or something.
No, because I remember seeing it, and because Tarantino presented it.
That's right.
I was intrigued just from that.
Yeah.
Because I love Tarantino. I was like, okay, if he's giving it a thumbs up, I'm there.
Did he produce it or did he just back it?
I think he just backed it.
Okay.
Yeah. It just says presented, which basically just means I recommend it.
Yeah.
I was like, right, you only recommend it because you're mates with the director. That was the
exactly.
only reason, which I didn't know. When we watched the film, I was like, this is a piece of shit. It was really, it just, like, it capitalized so much on trying to be gory, and that was the main selling point. There was no real structure to the film at all. Everything was a build up to gore, more gore, bit of tit, more gore, and then gore.
Yeah.
So that's all it was.
Yeah, it was, absolutely, yeah.
And it's a nothing thing. It's almost like martial arts films. Some martial arts films have no stories. You just watch it.
Just all action.
You just want to watch the kung fu scenes. Apart from Jackie Chan films and like The Raid, they're good.
Yeah, of course.
Have you guys ever enjoyed sort of Italian horror?
No, I couldn't.
I personally never got really into it.
No, I did watch. I've seen a few of them, like Zombie Flesh Eaters. I've seen that.
I do enjoy that one. That's one of my favourites.
I've seen
I think
2 of Dario Argento ones. I've seen Suspiria and what's it called? What's that one? It's gonna bug me. It's another Dario Argento film. They're all the same for him.
Yeah.
But no, there's something about the Italian ones. I can't get into it. There's that psychedelic music that you always use. The
dubbing is awful.
Dubbing is absolutely atrocious, and then like the overuse of lights and colours, especially with Dario Argento. Like
blood is like this bright.
It's just like it's I don't know. It's a psychedelic kind of look into horror and gore, but never a thing I picked up on or enjoyed.
Yeah,
no. So I'm not a fan of Italian horror.
Creature features is always my sort of soft spot.
Yeah.
Like,
define what a creature feature is.
So obviously Jaws started it, but Piranha. Alligator. So I think Alligator is an absolutely brilliant film.
Yeah.
Is that the one where it's in the sewer?
Yeah.
Robert
it's
Foster.
So well shot, and it's got some really good actors in it. It's really well directed. I think that's a really underrated creature horror movie.
Yeah. Creature show.
Lake Placid. You've got comedy.
Yeah, Lake Placid. I think it's pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that.
At least it had some animatronics in it, but. You got Anaconda.
Very tongue-in-cheek, but you knew that. I remember that film came out, and it was like from the director of H2O or something, and then from the writer of Alec Bill. So it knew it was going to be...
Yeah.
You know,
it's really short, wasn't it? It's only like 80 minutes.
Yeah, hour and 20, sort of that, yeah.
Self-aware, dumb but harmless.
Exactly.
Like The Meg. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
did what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my sort of... See, I even happily will watch Jaws 3D or Jaws the Revenge.
I'm a sucker for shark movies.
Yeah,
they're a guilty pleasure regardless. For me, anyway. So what do you guys... What like the haunting phase of films, like with your Insidiouses and your Conjuring. But then it obviously bigged up and made they're trying to make a universe out of it now. I mean,
that's what's destroyed it.
Yeah.
The haunted it's almost like westerns. They come and go. Haunted house films come and go. They have like phases where it'll work, then it doesn't work, and it comes back. It works for like 2 or 3 movies, and it dies again. It's an odd one. Haunted house is an odd one.
I really like Insidious 1 and 2, but then after that, it just never really caught my eye. Again, rinse repeat, wasn't it?
It was a one-off film. It really didn't need sequels. It should have stayed as that. It would have been much more better for just one movie.
Yeah.
And Conjuring's good as well. And then the second one was But again, it's like I said with haunted house films, they're touch and go.
Is Conjuring 2 the one when he sings the Elvis song?
Yeah.
What about you, Steve? Do you get anything into anything like Paranormal Activity?
No,
anything
I'm
like
not
that
into anything like that, or sort of satanic horrors, stuff like that. That's not my thing. Is it The Lady in Black or
Woman in Black?
Woman in Black.
That's a good movie.
I enjoyed that, but
I've seen the stage play. It's great.
That's probably my limit on stuff like that. I enjoyed that, but when it comes to sort of satanic stuff and the sort of home footage stuff, it's just not my scene. I don't really enjoy it.
Wasn't The Woman in Black produced by Hammer? They were trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I just really enjoyed that film. I thought it was quite well acted.
I've not seen the play, so I'm not quite sure if it was true to it or not. Tim, you've seen it? You said?
It's different. But it made sense. When the way a stage is done, I don't think it would translate to film as well as to a stage.
Of course, yeah.
So it made sense to where there to like tweak it a bit. So yeah, it's fine. I enjoyed the movie. It's nothing
amazing to write home to.
There is there's a British one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got what's his name? Roddy McDowall. He's in it. It's a British haunted house film. It's really underrated. That's going to bug me now. What's it called?
Google it.
I'm going to have to Google it.
Google it as we move on, and we can come back to it. So my last question before we do the top 5 is literally what Tim said earlier on. We don't see many original horror films now. We've just had another remake been announced for horror-wise. So my question to you guys is: do you think horror is a dying genre?
No. See, for me, I'd like to see more sci-fi horror. I just don't think there's been enough.
It's true. Yeah. There isn't enough of it.
No, definitely. No, I agree.
Because you think like space is infinite. The ideas have got to be fairly infinite. You know, you could base it on another planet. Who gives a fuck? But you could do what you want on that planet. It could be any rules on that planet. You know.
Yeah.
And I think that works. When you go down the sci-fi route, anything goes really, because that's the idea of sci-fi. It's not our reality as such at all times. Slashers, you kind of Friday the 13th style, Halloween style, I think has been done to death. I think there's only so much you can do on that. Having said that, I did enjoy the Halloween 2018 and looking forward to the others, but I think
Let it burn! Let it burn! No! What was that film? What was the film?
Oh, it was Haunting of Hill House, made in 1973.
Ah.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, recommend it. It's a good one.
That's the Hammer one, is it? Or?
No, it's a British haunted house movie.
Ah, okay, right.
Roddy McDowall. It's good. Very underrated. No
Roddy McDowall's a fantastic
actor. He's really over the top in this one.
He's really?
Yeah. But it's good. I like it.
I might have to download it, actually.
Try
and get hold of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, no, horror I don't think will ever die. Mainly because it's a good market deal. You can make it on the cheap and it will make bundles. And because of that, I don't think horror will ever go away. The reason why that's probably why you don't get much sci-fi horror, because you need more budget on that. Yeah. And there's no guarantee with horror. Like the only reasons horror works is because they're cheap to make and they make bank. They're guaranteed bank money. Even if it's a piece of shit horror film, it will make bank because it's made on the cheap. With horror,
is it like Paranormal Activity was made for 50 grand or something
stupid?
Exactly,
yeah. Blair Witch, the most successful one ever. But it cost like 20 grand to make,
if that,
and it made 3 million. Fucking budget,
massive,
yeah. But that's why I don't think horror will always stay. There's always
the ideas are dying, really.
Yeah, ideas are dying, but there's always a place for horror.
Yeah, I think with sci-fi horror, if it's something that someone is familiar with, like if it was a Dead Space movie, for example, based on the video game, that's probably how you would get people in seats for sci-fi horror. But then, again, unless it is a popular horror people know, kind of going with the rating system here. Cinema doesn't like anything over a 15 nowadays, does it?
No.
Is another issue with horror.
It's because the studios bank on the idea that young audiences go to cinema more than older
ones, exactly.
Plus
which is ageist as fuck.
You've only got to look at Predator, Terminator, stuff like that. That's sci-fi. Had sequels of late that have all panned terribly.
But that's another,
financially.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, what was it? New generations are still living off our old shit. I want new ones. I want new like genres of generation of like different movies. I'm fed up with being the reboots and sequels. There's too much of that shit going on.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I get it. I mean, I've not got amnesia. I remember these fucking films. Stop trying. Stop trying to boost my fucking brain as to say like, do you remember this? I was like, yes, I fucking do.
Yes,
I think
we've lived through it.
Half my fucking life I've watched this. Nearly all my life, I'd probably say.
I mean, I think, like, personal to me, the only film of late that I've seen that I could say, do you know what, that's going to be like a Back to the Future or the Goonies, type film to me, is Ready Player One. Yeah,
but this is the thing with when we watch new trailers now, we look for the elements of our old films in there. Look, that's what Back to the Future is. That's what this is and this is. It's like Tim said, there's nothing ever new for us to go and stop going, actually, that looks pretty damn good. It's not copying off something else.
I feel bad for the people who are younger these days because we're still living off our stuff, and I'm bored of seeing our stuff being brought up over and over again. It's not as if they almost act as if like it's because nostalgia for some reason has become the biggest banker. And since, I don't know, like the last 20 years, there used to be different new films that used to come out. And now it's just the same old fucking rehashes all the time. So I have no idea what the system is or why it still works. That's what bugs me. Why are people still going to these things? Why are they still selling and marketing it? There is new stuff out there. There's like, there's A24, easily one of the best studios around.
Hell's fucking yeah.
They are better than Universal, way better than Disney. Fucking by miles, because they are original. There's an original studio that actually gives they give full creative control to the filmmakers without studio interference. They just give them the money and trust the filmmakers to make the film they want to make. That's what every studio should be like. And A24, with all their movies, I mean, they do different genres. They do horror, sci-fi, they do everything, and all of their films are original. There's no copy and pasting. All their stuff is fresh. They're not getting the limelight. At some point, I'm hoping they do, but that's the only studio I'm banking on ever watching to find something new and fresh in today's market of movies.
Give people the opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what's missing in today's market, and A24, heads up to them. They're the best. They're the best around for sure.
It's weird how you're saying it because, again, probably a lot of these new films were fresh, but then when they get a producer in, they go, well, I want it to look like this. I want it to feel like that movie and this movie. Obviously, A24 doesn't do that, but that's probably what is happening with the bigger budget ones.
Yeah, which makes makes no sense. Like how's the biggest budget movies don't give full creative control when they can afford to lose money? Disney, for example, they can afford. They could
probably produce 20 films and not make a dime on them, but they'll still be as rich as ever.
Yeah, and all they're doing is remaking their fucking cartoons into live action now, and that's that's boring. That is boring. Come on, there's other stuff you can do. I know they can, and it's like they won't take the risk to do at least one film different because they go back to say, what's that one that failed?
Song of the Dinosaur one.
Song of the South.
No, no. It was in the 2000s. What the fuck
was it? The Dinosaur?
It was trying to be like a new space adventure type film, like it's like Prince and Persia in space type.
I know Treasure Island or something like that.
No,
it was like a futuristic. It was a live action one.
Yeah, I had the guy from.
I know the one you mean.
So shit. I've never seen it. I just know the poster.
We saw it at the cinema.
It's got the guy from
not Prince of Persia.
No, it's got Friday Night Lights guy in it. The one who gets
had a massive budget. It was quite.
John Carter.
John Carter. That's the one.
John Carter. Yeah.
So that was a new Disney film. It failed. It was like but it's like it didn't fuck up their venue or their money. Chump change. When that failed, chump change for them. Do more of that, though. At least take the risk and do something different. Yeah, it failed, but at least they was ambitious enough to be different, and like, you know, they can afford to make that risk. That's what fucking bugs me, though. A24 people, these small time people, you know, they can't afford the budget they want. They have to struggle hard to get the moves made, and they do fucking well when they do it, because there's no studio bollocks interference or saying you got to capitalize on this and that. You got to market these fucking like Mountain Dew or something. You got to sponsor.
Yeah, true.
Doesn't do any of that shit. They can afford to make a fucking movie, but they won't do it. They won't take that risk, and that's what fucking destroys me. It's like the biggest company in the world that doesn't take risk, and still people fucking buy them. That's what bugs me.
This is it.
All right, I'm cancelling my Disney Plus.
It's true.
This is just my opinion.
No, I remember seeing the trailer for John Carter, and I was like, "Holy damn, that does actually look fresh and new for a Disney film."
It was like, I remember the new Star Wars or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's meant to be a trilogy, wasn't it?
And then they end up buying Star Wars.
Yeah,
what does that say?
exactly. Yeah, so yeah, it's a shame. Like I said, they can do it, but it's whether they get their balls to do it or not. Isn't it?
And I think, like Tim was saying, with the horror genre, it's very difficult to.
God, could you imagine Disney doing a horror?
Yeah,
I mean, fucking
well,
they just won't pump the money into a horror film, will they? It's got to be low budget, sure to make some money.
Well, they owned Dimension and Miramax, didn't they? So they got them to do the horror films for them, didn't they?
Like Disney own Alien.
Oh, they do. That's right now. Yeah, Alien and Predator.
So, you know, if there's a new Alien Predator film, it's a Disney film.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it is.
And how are they going to do it? I guarantee if they do it again, it would just be like a rehash of scenes. Like, remember this from Alien 1, remember this from Alien 3. I guarantee you it's going to do that shit, because that's all they fucking
I can't see them letting Ridley finish his film, his trilogy.
With Disney involved? No.
No. Because, not being funny, the guy's nearly 90 as well. So
he needs to pack in as well. I mean, I like him. He's a great director. I love his films, but damn, dude, call it a day. Not stopping movies, but just stop doing what you know, this idea of aliens. Like, you can do better than that. Like, what was it? That All the Money in the World? That was good.
Yeah.
I like that. That was good. Do more stuff like that.
It, man.
More films like that. That'd be fine. That's what he should be doing. Yeah. He's impressive though. He can do any genre. He's done nearly every genre except Western. He hasn't done a Western. Oh, has he? Has he done a Western? No, he hasn't.
No.
Has
he done a kids film?
I think he's been involved as a producer, probably. Like Stardust or some shit like that. Or Scott Free Productions.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know. He's never done a kids film.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of the questions I've got left. Do you guys have anything else in? If not, we'll go straight to the top fives.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's time for a top five.
Right, so how are we going to do this? Does anyone want to start first? If by any chance we have the same in our top five, we'll merge together and jump in on that like we normally do, okay? Yeah?
Yep.
Anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
Sure?
Yo, looked at me. I was like, okay.
Well, no, because he got the list out and I was like, he's ready.
He's prepared. Oh, he's got a list.
Yeah, go on then.
I've got a list, but it's not in order.
Right, go for it. You go first. We'll go around this way, yeah?
All right, clockwise, yeah.
Right, so number 5. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The first one, yeah?
The first
the
one.
Original.
Yeah. The original.
Good.
I just love the way it's filmed.
Yeah.
Love the weird music in it. It's so low budget, but it just works perfectly. The set pieces are fantastic.
Yeah.
Like the house is just covered in bones and feathers and all this weird shit.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes you feel like you're not sort of in America in it. You're like you've been taken to a different place, an absolute maniac place. It's just...
It does its job by getting into that mindset of like being... insane.
It is.
It's insanity.
It's the family. It makes you laugh, obviously. It's got that comedy value to it.
It's got dark humour for sure.
It's just the way they behave and the old granddad. Hit her, granddad, hit her. I just loved it. I remember...
Look what your brother did to the door!
You stupid! It was a film I didn't see as a youngster, but I'd heard about it. And everyone said, oh, yeah, it was banned. Don't watch it. It's horrific and all this. And you're like, oh, really? And then I remember it being released on DVD. It was like the black cover with his face on the front and the chainsaw on it. I thought, I saw it at Tesco's. I thought, let's buy it. Let's buy it. Sorry, I want to see it. Let's buy it.
My week's shopping. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm going to get Texas.
Exactly, yeah. How do I change the shopping differently?
That's good.
Bought it and just... at first I thought... God, this is a bit weird because obviously it was low budget, the way it's shot and what have you. But oh man, it just stuck in my mind as it's just so good.
Yeah,
and it's not even that, like we've said before, it's not even that violent. No. I don't know why it was banned. The female lead, obviously Leatherface with all his masks and what have you. It's just brilliant. I love it.
It's raw and gritty.
It is.
Yeah, you just feel.
And Toby Hooper just done a fantastic job.
Yeah, for low budget, you can feel the fucking heat.
Yeah.
It was filmed in the hottest time of the year or something, and you can feel it in that film.
It's got like a
when they're sweating, you can tell they're actually sweating for real.
Yeah. And that's what I like about it. It's so, like you said, gritty, and that you actually feel like you're there. Yeah. You feel like you're part of it because it doesn't have that massive budget to sort of make everyone look really like beautiful.
Everything's dirty. Everything's filthy. Everything's sweaty and good.
It doesn't require certain camera shots done to make it look. It's like it's all naturally done, isn't it?
And
all the camera works are great though. It's very experimental. And I don't know what the sound effects are. Because the music as well is very strange, and like I don't even know what half the instruments
are. It's like the one where you rub a stick down the.
Well, yeah, it's
the camera shot.
The camera, it's great. I was like, who?
That sound haunts me to this day.
It's a great sound though, but it's very distinctive to that film.
I think it's of a camera, isn't it, or something?
It's meant to be of a camera flash, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's distinctive to that movie. It gives it that trademark feel. So you hear that noise, you immediately think, that's Texas Chainsaw.
But that bit always got me when the guy's looking around the house and then he opens the shutter door and he's just there. And that whack with the hammer on the head, the sound effects of that still gets me. It's just
legit, isn't it?
And the meat hook bit,
Yeah, and again, it's like you don't see much. It's your imagination that takes toll on that one as well, because it doesn't show you. Even when he uses the chainsaw on the people he kills, you don't see it.
And obviously, it's briefly based on a true story. It's in a roundabout way.
Yeah, it's based on Ed Gein.
Yeah,
but it was it's a film. It says based on true events. Doesn't mean the story is true. It just means there are people out there that's done this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, which I hate when people say like, "Oh, this actually happens." Like, if it says true events, read the fact it says true events because it's a part of events that happened that are true, not the story.
It gives people the element. It's scary, isn't it? If it really happened, isn't it?
Yeah. But I kind of like this is totally off topic now. Fargo.
Yeah.
When they said based on true story, it wasn't. They completely lied.
Yeah.
But they knew it to sell. Market, and it worked. And then after the film came out, it's like, it's bullshit, by the way. It wasn't based on true story. They just said it because I
remember it's something like, doesn't it say something like, it there is like an event, but we had to change the characters' names or something?
I think like names, characters, and story. Something like that was changed, but I don't know read the small print.
It sells more if you base it on true events, though, isn't it?
Exactly. But the idea is like it can happen.
Yes, of course.
And that's another thing what true events can say. It's like, it's just a thing that can happen. Like people go insane, do weird shit.
Yeah, and I think like in Texas Chainsaw, when you're like the film almost takes you away from any normality. There's nobody else around. You're totally on your own. There's just a house, a forest, some dirty roads. I just really enjoy it.
I remember when I watched it the first time, it was before they re-released it, because like you said, it was banned for so many years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A friend of mine gave me his brother's pirate copy, and it was okay, the copy, but I was in shivers. Yeah. Like, the way you said it was shot, to me, it felt like it was like a real documentary or something like that happening up until one specific shot, which I'm talking about when she gets off the swing. Then I was like, okay, this is a movie. Yeah. But I was still like you said, when the guy gets hit with the hammer, like you forgot the part when he's on the ground and he shivers like a real person, and he goes in front of it. Like, mate, I was scared, man.
I had the kind of same experience where it was a pirate copy that my dad got from a friend. But my dad was a bastard. But what he did was he just because he basically watched the opening part.
Yes.
So he kind of waited until the credits went. Mm-hmm. And then he said, like, hey, Tim, come into... I was probably 12 or 13.
Okay.
He says, like, want to watch a horror film? I was like, oh, okay, we're watching. You know. And because he waited for the time to finish, so I was watching this. I was like, what the fuck are we watching? Because I was like...
Jesus.
Because I was like, this looks shit. Because it's like just some gritty film. So there's these people like on this, like, van. I'm like... Dad, what the fuck is this? What you got me to watch? Because he hadn't seen it either.
Right.
But he wanted me to be involved, but he made me miss the title. Because I knew of the film from...
so you thought it was like a real...
I knew it was a film that wasn't available in the UK.
Yeah.
Because my dad had we had this like book of like movies. There's like horror book movies, like sci-fi book movies. And I read about all these like horror films that were out. I was into Hammer horror at the time and stuff like that. So I knew of this film. But then, obviously, so what my dad was like saying, right, we're going to watch this film. I had no idea what it was. People in the van, pick up a hitchhiker. I'm like, what the fuck is this piece of shit weird film? And then you get to that scene when he appears, and I was like, is this Texas Chainsaw Massacre? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh fuck, we're watching this? I was
No
like,
way.
get out. So I was watching it, and then I was like, oh my God. And I was because I was like 12, naive, and didn't have as much perspective into movies as I do now. But I was always like, it's like, why is this banned?
Yes.
And I was like, why was this banned?
I think the problem is it's had so much hype, didn't it? Of it's a banned movie. You think, fuck me, this is going to be bad.
Then the chainsaw scene came up because I think because once the Parker was actually the cut version. So he starts the chainsaw and then just cuts to the windmill.
Yes.
So even then I was just like, oh.
Well, even the Me Hook scene, you don't see an awful lot.
Yeah.
I always thought that was cut when I watched
the guy in the wheelchair when he gets cut.
There's they just obviously... Yeah. Again, I think it worked for the right reasons, just don't have the budget. So if you haven't got the budget to do it, don't show it, and that will actually be more effective.
Yeah. But I remember this, like the visuals of it, like the scene when she's tied to a chair, the camera zooms in or out of her eye.
Yes, I was about to bring that up.
I was like, what the fuck was that? That's awesome. And I was like, I remember taken by that more than Leatherface. I was like, this is insane.
Mate, that part when they cut her finger and start feeding it to the grandpa,
I was just weird. The dinner scene,
man, I was shivers.
The seat that he's in, I think he's in. It's like all made of these little bones. I mean, it must have taken ages to make. It's got like beaks on it, bird heads.
A lot of their furniture is made of skeletons and stuff, isn't it? In the living room and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's weird. There's like feathers everywhere.
Because I remember reading about the film, and then I had like images in my head of how the film played out. So when I was watching it, I had this idea of what the film was going to be, and I had no idea. I thought it was just literally just a guy with a mask doing like a Michael Myers thing.
Yes.
Going from house to house. That was my interception of like what this film was going to be. The whole family thing, it kind of threw me off the first time I watched it. So I was just like, this is not what I expected. But yeah, when we got to that torture scene, I was just taken back, going, this is weird, and it's insane. I couldn't believe I was seeing.
Yeah. I think it's the first film I saw that was shot so differently. Like you say, when you zoom in on the eyes, and that, you just see like the generic filmmaking of movies, and this was totally different.
Yeah, and it's felt like I could feel, and then it's you can feel the 70s part.
Yeah,
of the film.
totally. Yeah.
I was like, this is a very 70s film. So, but yeah, it felt like a time capsule movie when I was watching it, and I was like, obviously because it was a pirate copy, it's like banned in the UK, so I felt like, ooh.
We're breaking the rules, fucking rebel.
To be honest, if you think like people got scared with Jaws and stuff like that, you can understand why this was banned at the time. I do get it, for the time, but obviously,
it's taken.
It's a good choice, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Tim, number 5. Sir.
Number 5. So the way I've compiled my top 5 list, I've gone by categories of genres in top 5s, because I find it very difficult to pick one better than the other when it always equal to one genre. So I've gone by top 5s in types of genres that I like from horror films.
Okay. Interesting.
Which I find is easier than choosing films.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
So in the category of 5, as my 5th pick, I've gone for a horror sequel. That's
nice.
And or part of a franchise. And that one for me is Exorcist 3.
Nice. Good choice.
Criminally underrated.
Yes.
I fucking love Exorcist 3. It is so. I think it's better than the first one. I'm not taking away anything from the first one. The first movie is a masterpiece. It is a great film. But 3 for me is so much better. So much better.
Yeah, I've known you for ages. You've always spoken highly of 3.
I've always. Since I first met you, I was like, dude, Exorcist 3 is the best. So
if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have got the buy one, get one free.
Exactly, no, very underrated. I think the dialogue in the film fucking stands out so much. I love the characters in it, and the fact that the guy who wrote the book of the first movie wrote and directed this one, which is based on another book, which is the actual sequel to The Exorcist, and not talking about Exorcist 2, The Heretic, the Pazuzu piece of shit one. That is awful. That's
James Earl Jones.
that you can scrap that one. But no, Exorcist 3 is impeccable. It's just, the sound effects in the film, I find it much more terrifying than the original Exorcist. For its time, obviously, when Exorcist first came out, sure, I understand that at the time, scariest film of all time, sure. Now, not so much. It hasn't held up. It holds up as a very respectable horror film, not as a horror film, as in
yes, totally.
I think 3 stands out a lot more, holds up in time.
I seem to remember reading that there was priests outside the cinema when the first one came out, because people were so.
See, I remember when number 3 came out, and critics panned the shit out of this film. But it had such a cult following because it never really done big on the cinema. No. And the VHS came out. That's what broke the wall with it, wasn't it?
Definitely. Because I saw it first time VHS, and I saw the third one before the first one.
Okay.
So maybe that's why I might like it more.
Yeah.
Possibly that.
It's almost like your first.
It was my first one.
The first.
Yeah, and
answered your question earlier. Your first movie.
Not my first. Yeah, not my first. Didn't scare me, but
no, of course not.
I was enthralled. But I was like, "This is awesome."
So I've not seen any of the Exorcists. I know of them and what they're about. What's the third one?
You seen the first one?
No, I know a lot of it. I've seen quite a bit of it.
It kind of follows up from the first one.
Okay.
So the second one you can just write off.
Yeah.
So that doesn't exist. The third one's a true sequel, and so in the first movie, the priest saves a girl by telling the devil to come, well, not the devil, the demon, to come into him, and he jumps out the window, sacrifices his life, he dies, but the girl survives.
Right.
The third one is a continuation of the priest who died. In a weird way, he kind of comes in later. So the film starts off as a detective murder mystery. So there's a kid that's been killed, it's like a 12-year-old boy. But the way he's been killed was killed by a way of a serial killer who died 10 years ago.
Right.
And then another person dies in the same manner. This detective who used to work on the case starts figuring out okay, someone's killing these people the same way as this guy known as the Gemini killer. And he can't understand it because he's dead. He can't understand how these murders are still happening.
Yeah.
He then, through his investigations, he ends up going back to this psych ward, this hospital. And he sees this patient there who looks exactly like the Gemini killer. Says he's the Gemini killer, but he looks exactly like the priest who died in Exorcist 1. So there's but I don't want to actually. I think you should watch it because I don't want to spoil. That's kind of that's like the opening.
That's a non-spoiler version of it.
It gets a bit more.
Okay,
there's more to it.
So it's got more of a
should give it a go, dude. Watch 1 and then 3 straight after.
It's a detective movie. It's a horror film. It has all the elements of what you need in horror. It has basically you got the hospitals, you got the police, and you got religion. It's all the 3 things in life that come together about faith and doubt almost. You want to have faith in all 3 of those things.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those are questioned within this film almost.
Okay.
So it all brings it together, and it's fucking phenomenal. Honestly, the sound effects in the film, amazing.
The score's pretty good.
The score I'm not a big fan of jump scenes. This one has the best jump scenes in my top 5s.
Okay.
But there's one jump scene. It's incredible. It's brilliant. It's one of the best jump scenes I think in horror films. I won't say what it is because I want you to see it.
I'll ask you later because I think if there's one in particular I might think it
hallway
is.
Scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's a great scene. It's a well written film. It's directed so well, but it's not perfect. It is flawed. The original ending to the film was kind of tame. I don't want to say because I want to.
Yeah.
But it was kind of tame, and this is kind of the only time when the studio interference made the good choice of changing the ending. It's very strange.
Okay.
Without spoiling it, it's hard to talk.
That's the issue, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird. So it's not perfect. The ending is kind of like that doesn't fit the whole film. Doesn't make sense the whole film, but the ending is good.
Right. Okay.
It's visually it's fucking impressive. But it made sense as to why it was changed. But
was that the last one they did?
No,
unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. No. But
it's the last one you want to watch.
It's the best one out of the entire Exorcist for me, and then obviously the first one. But no, Exorcist 3 is underrated.
Okay.
They did Exorcist 4, which was like a prequel.
2 of them.
But there was 2 different versions of it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And one's actually done by Rennie Harlin.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Hollywood version, anyway.
Dog pisses fire.
Yeah, exactly. Damn good pick. I completely forgot about that movie.
That film.
Good
Yeah,
pick, man.
favorite. Thank you.
So my number 5 is kind of holds a bit of a sentimental value to me because I'm going to say what it is and you guys will be like, what the fuck is it in there for? But my number 5 is Scream.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So Scream for me is one of those films that made me want to be a filmmaker.
Nice.
If that makes any sense.
Oh, definitely.
I love Scream.
So basically, we went to me and my mum had a free evening one night together. And she said, Anthony, let's go to Blockbusters. And I heard of this movie, Scream. So we rented it out. She rented it out for me. I was only like 14, 15 at the time, whatever. And obviously being an 18 rated movie. So she rented it out for me. And we watched this film. And obviously it's got one of those opening scenes that is meant to be a big shock value to it. So my mum was scarred by it, but I frigging loved it. But the thing that I loved about the movie was obviously it's a horror film, but in a way it's a murder mystery at the same time.
Yeah.
It keeps you guessing all the way through. And I thought, man, I could really write something like this. I could really write something into murder mystery, into horror, into something that really gave me that enthusiasm to be a filmmaker. And then 2 years later, I went to college and started doing media studies and started doing filmmaking and whatnot. But it's just one of those films where, so after we rented it, I bought the pre-owned VHS from Blockbusters and I recommended it to all my friends at school. And I brought the video into school and they're like, oh, what's this? Oh, I've heard about this. I've heard about this. I've heard about this. And I was literally renting out my pre-owned copy to everyone in the class and everyone got to see it and everyone fucking loved it. And I remember, funny enough, when that film, everyone finished the film, the second one was coming out. So we all got together. I got my parents to buy the tickets at the cinema for me because we were like 15 at the time.
Nice.
All slicked back our hair, watched the sequel. Slick back our hair, put our jeans on to look 18.
I love it. Slick back hair is older.
It was in the 90s, wasn't it? Slick back your hair, done.
Fucking Matrix era.
Absolutely. So Scream is not the scariest films I've ever, but to me, it holds a very place in my heart that makes me. I mean, even if I hadn't watched it, I still love movies. I grew up watching movies, whatnot.
Yeah, no, Scream has that thing where it tells you the horror rules. You know, we all know about rules in horror film, and the film taps into that, which is great. I think it's the first one to do that, wasn't it?
It was actually
break the fourth wall, almost.
Yeah, and it was also the one that brought in the late 90s horror genre back.
Sure.
Your faculties, your urban legends, your I Still Knows and all that. So
it was like the Kickstarter, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely brought back the mask. The costume was just obviously iconic.
It was so annoying because it was in that cinema. I knew it was in the cinema, but obviously couldn't see it. But there was other stuff at the time, so I knew of it, just could never watch it. So when I finally watched it, I think it was one of those ones that was worth all the talk at the time.
Yeah.
And what was this, mid-90s, wasn't it? 96, it came out, 97.
You keep like guessing, don't you? You keep like second guessing who it could be. It just keeps you thinking. It never gives it away till the end.
And this is it. And when you find out who it was, it makes sense as to why they do it. It was very smart writing for them. Simple writing, if you will, but still smart enough to be like, oh, this is why they're doing this and this is why they're doing that. Yeah,
and going back to the whole like horror rules and like the horror genre cliches, but then not making it a cliche, just making it a thing of the film, making it a sell point. The like killing off the main actress at the beginning.
Yes,
very
exactly.
Hitchcock, very Hitchcock, like Psycho. I was like, that's good. Drew Barrymore was obviously meant to be the main.
She was, wasn't she? Yes, that's right.
Dead within the first 15 minutes.
Absolutely. And I remember that scene happened, and the title comes up and whatnot, and then the phone rang. My mum wouldn't answer it. It was so funny. It was just like, so
it was more freaky if it was The Ring.
Could you imagine? Oh, 7 days. Fuck.
I actually did that to a friend once.
No way.
Because you know the DVD, there's a special feature where you can just watch The Ring.
That's the whole thing, wasn't it? Yeah. Yes.
So whilst I was watching it, I had like my phone on top of my pocket, and then I went,
no way.
It went, because I did 141, which is private number.
Oh, no way, did you really?
Didn't answer it.
So
He
awesome.
just freaked out.
And what was freaky about that, when you press play and watch that whole bit, you couldn't turn it off, and the feature wouldn't let you turn it off unless you pulled the power cord or whatever out, pull the plug out. That's how it would stop it. Yeah. Oh, mate, that was freaky.
Yeah, Scream's good choice.
Like I said, it got me into screenwriting as well. I was writing horror films and short story films and whatnot, and it's there. It has to be in the top 5.
Sure, definitely.
Number 4, sir.
Oh, let's have a little look.
Just getting the list out.
Right, number 4.
Shall I open it? Your list, sir. Open your list.
Right, I've gone for a sci-fi horror.
All right.
Okay. I think this is where you and me are going to clash now.
I think we're all going to clash on this one.
Event Horizon.
Yes, yeah, I've got that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's in mine. It's my number 3. So we'll
nice.
skip my 3 when we go around, okay?
Cool.
Well, we can both talk about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll skip my 3, so we'll both talk about it now.
Cool. So I saw this on an old VHS that would have been at my friend's house.
Nice.
Probably back in 98, 99, something around that. He said, you've got to watch this film because we love sci-fi. He said, you've got to see it. It's like horrific. I was like, can't be that bad. And I remember just sitting there and some of them scenes in it literally shook me to the core.
Yeah, still do today, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's fantastic.
You can, when you watch it now, you can see that again, it's one of them films. The studios got involved, rushed production, stopped certain things in it. But I don't know. I just really enjoy it. I love sci-fi. Obviously, I love horror, and I think they go so well together in this film. It takes you to that almost unknown. You go to hell in it.
Yeah. But it's back you were saying about sci-fi horror films not being made as much.
Yeah.
When this was 97, this came out.
Yeah.
Wasn't much sci-fi and all that at the time, wasn't there? So when it came out, it was a shock factor. Like, holy crap, this is actually not a bad movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that made more on VHS than it did.
Definitely, yes. Yeah.
I actually saw it when, because my cousin from Germany, he had a Japanese VHS version of it.
Okay.
So it had the... it was the movie, they all speaking in English, but had Japanese subtitles. And I don't know whether there's this thing in Japan, but you know when you see a woman's breasts?
Yes. They dub it out, didn't they?
Then they put square blocks on it.
Okay, yeah.
So it's censored. So I was just like, huh? And I thought it was part of the film. And I was like, why is the director blurring his own fucking movie? And then it was like, oh, maybe it's a Japan thing. And then obviously found out it was like, yeah, it's a Japanese thing. Because when I went back to, so obviously I watched that in Germany. And then I think it was like a year later it came out on UK VHS.
Yeah.
And I saw nipples. I was like,
they are there.
Japanese one. So Japanese censor nipples.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love all the characters like in the crew. I think they've just all got such brilliant personalities.
It's good casting.
Yeah, it is. It's just that bit where his wife's eyes are like all dark. Totally. Oh God, I remember that scaring the shit out of me. That bit where he's crawling.
To show you.
Yeah, he's crawling through the ventilation shafts or something to repair
the trombone shot. And
I
friggin' love that shot.
Very good shots in the film. Just a visual standpoint, it's just striking images. Like even the actual Event Horizon, the circle thing with the the cheese grater.
Yeah,
the bit before,
everything about it is just visually striking, and even the some of the special effects are a bit dated, but
some of the sets on that are.
But the prosthetic makeup in it is fucking.
Yeah, it's the CGI effects that are dated on but stuff like floating around. But
but other than that, physically, it just like the prosthetic makeups on Sam Neill towards the end of the film is incredible.
Well, I love the actual Event Horizon ship. It's so gothic.
Yes, the shape of it's great.
Yeah, it's like almost cathedral-like.
It's a cross. It's Jesus Christ.
It's for a ship that's meant to be exploring space. It's quite a scary looking ship, to be honest.
Yeah. It's shaped like a cross, so it's like Jesus on the cross thing. So.
Oh shit! Do you know what? I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
How weird! I've never really thought of it like that. Yeah, shit.
Yeah, because obviously it goes to hell and back.
Of course it does. Yes, it does. Go on.
Yeah, no, I love the it's very almost Hellraiser-like with the whole metal and flesh fusing together.
Yeah,
there's something about that. You can taste metal because when sometimes you ever tasted blood before, your own blood?
Yes,
it
tastes like it. Metallic taste.
Yeah. So when you see a scene with metal and flesh coming together, you can taste that metallic-y, that kind of taste.
Absolutely,
back.
Yeah.
So it's very unnerving and just eerie to look at. Like when you get the shots from hell, which are in just like quick
flashes,
because they wanted to show it fully, but obviously it was like R rating or
that's right, yeah.
It could be related.
It was going to be X-rated or something, wasn't it?
Was it Paramount that? Was it Paramount Studios?
It was Paramount,
yeah, they basically said you just cannot do this. You need to cut half an hour. It's way too much. I think even like the test audience were like,
how lucky the test audience? They got to see a 4-hour cut of that film.
Yeah,
well,
they fell over that.
Well, they said they were nauseous.
we're very hopeful anyway that next year Shout Factory are releasing it.
They're doing a good job of
possibly have the It's only on VHS. There's no actual
No, they've done that before.
There's no, but they did it with the Burbs and that from Joe Dante's copy.
They actually did it with the very first Alien box set that came out for DVD. The Alien Quadrilogy, they called it. They did it with Alien 3. And something you could tell because some of the audio is fucking dire in that cut. And obviously they redid it for the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is a lot better, obviously. But they can. It's like you guys say, it's possible. They can do it. If they do good enough job.
So basically, they had it all filmed.
Yeah.
It went to some sort of salt mine or something in Romania or wherever it was. Honestly, So when they went for the original DVD, they went to get the footage again.
Yeah.
When they discovered it was all totally damaged. I think there was about 3 included deleted scenes on the DVD that made it.
Yeah.
The rest is gone. However, one of the producers has still got the VHS copy of it from the original test screening with all the footage in it.
We got some of the deleted scenes on the DVD.
Yeah, but you don't get any of the hell scenes, all the bit where they're like sodomising one another.
But some of those deleted scenes were really good, to be honest.
Yeah.
How Sam Neill done some of that stuff in that suit is unreal.
Because it was a rush production, but so much effort put in. A lot of effort. That's the thing. Even the dialogue is great in it. Like some of the lines.
Yes, I was literally about to say that. Some of the lines are killer, mate. Absolute killer.
I think I watched an interview of is it Paul W.S. Anderson? It sounded like when you're making a film, after it's all shot, you have something like 8 weeks to edit it.
Yeah.
He had 2.
Yeah, he was very time constrained, wasn't he? Yeah.
And like that was including he had to put sound onto that as well and what have you. You know, he said he was rushed.
Yes, editing's not an easy thing to do, man.
I think because was it Titanic was out that year, and I think or there was some big film coming out. I know Titanic was out that year.
So this came out in August, and Titanic would have been 3-4 months after this.
So they said to him, "You've got to get this out regardless." So he literally had to. Apparently, he never had a break. He literally was working around the clock.
You can tell. You can tell, definitely. But I remember this Event Horizon was actually the first 18-rated movie I saw in the cinema.
Okay,
and I was only 15 at the time as well. Again, slick back that hair. But no, I want to go back to when I first saw the trailer for this movie. Okay, so I went and saw Men in Black, which is PG rated. Okay, and this was back in the 90s, in the day where you could put any type of trailer on before the movie. You could be any age rating, and they played the trailer for Event Horizon.
Nice.
And that's the only way I knew about this movie. And the trailer is it tricks you because it makes you lead to believe that there's a monster. It's brought back a monster on there. And that's why I wanted to go see this movie. So I met with my cousin for one weekend, and he said, "Do you want to do movies or whatever?" I said, "Look, there's this film coming out. I think it's this weekend. Can we go see it? We get seats for it." So we saw it in Wimbledon, Odeon in Wimbledon, whatever it was, and sat there, loved the movie, but I was just like, I kind of wanted the monster to be in it. But looking back at it and rewatching it now, I'm glad it isn't. If it makes sense.
Yeah.
It just
the monster is almost inside everyone, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because there's scenes in the film where someone is getting chased by somebody, you don't see it. Again, it's all mind manipulating, isn't it? And that's what I love about it.
The ship is hell.
Yes, exactly.
That's the monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, I'll never forget that. It was one of my first all-time 18 ratings.
Yeah,
mine was actually Hannibal.
Was it really? Oh wow!
I think I skipped school, and then
was you under 18 when you saw it?
Yeah, I was 17.
Okay.
No, 16, sorry, 16. 16, yeah.
Yeah.
16. Yeah, I was still in school. Yeah, 16. And I had one of those 4-week passes. It's UGC cinema.
That's right, yep.
Yeah, so I skipped school. And I thought, I'll give it a shot. See if I'm waiting to say, you're not 18. And I got in. So I was like...
Because you should have been at school. So it was like, he's clearly not 18 and he shouldn't be at school.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
My mate...
slick back it.
My mate...
I didn't. Please tell me you did at some point.
No, I did. I did.
You worked there at one point in the end, didn't you? In that cinema?
Yes, for 2 months.
Was that all it was?
I was a bartender.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. I was a bartender upstairs where Starbucks is now.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. But yeah, Event Horizon is a cracking good... pick, mate.
My friend will listen to this that I watched it with. But what I used to do was when we just sat there on the sofa and that, he'd have like the VHS. I said, "Oh, could I have a look at the cover?" And, and when I knew a scary bit was coming out, I used to just put it in front of us just as something. So I didn't want to grab a pillow or something, a cushion or whatnot. Just I've been like reading the back of it.
It was another one. It's another one where I waited for Blockbuster to re-release their pre-owns, and I bought it first day. I think I paid £30 for that as well.
Nice. Did it scare you when you saw it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Especially the decompression scene. That was whoa, just that awesome. Even does my head. I mean, now, mate. Oh my god, it's starting. My eyes.
Oh, my eyes.
The veins that come out.
Yeah, exactly. My eyes. Don't think about him. Shut him. Just some, there's some wicked lines in that.
Yeah, and perfect casting.
Good choice.
Yeah,
Good choice,
nice.
sir. Number 4, Tim.
4. So this is under the category of world cinema horror.
Oh, okay.
Tough one. It was so tough to choose one. There's literally loads. I was very close to picking a French one. There's one called Inside.
Oh, I love that film.
Inside is it's. I'm not big on gore films, but that is probably the next to Brain Dead, one of the goriest films I've seen. But it's done in an artistically way, and it's visually striking. And
too right.
yeah, it's awesome. It's
Maybe you let me borrow the DVD for that.
It's very French.
Yeah.
And there's that amazing shot when the woman's standing outside the window, and you just see the silhouette of her, just blackness, and you see the cigarette butt in her mouth, and when she sucks the cigarette butt, you only see her eyes light up. It's a fantastic shot. I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, that was close into that one. I was very leaning on that. In the end, I went for Let the Right One In.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh my god, you bastards! Oh my god, I freaking love that film.
It's the
original you're talking about.
Of course,
yeah, of course, yeah. Oh my god,
yeah. Because it's the only one that's a vampire film on my list as well.
Yeah.
So not only is it, I mean, it's under 2 categories. My favorite vampire / world cinema.
Is it Norwegian, Swedish? That's it. Yeah.
Unique. I remember seeing it first time. I was like, "This is amazing. I've not seen anything like this. This is different." It's the vampire film like nothing I've seen, but it does follow the typical traits of Dracula. You know, like the whole she's almost Dracula. She's got like the Renfield character, the guy that helps her get blood for him and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
And then then she falls in love with the boy. That's kind of like the girl he wants to be with. It has that same
Dracula theme to it, isn't it? It's just vice versa, isn't it?
It's the same story, but has that childhood trauma feel to it. There's there's a child being bullied at school, has no friends, finds friends in the way you wouldn't think with a monster, a girl who's been around for hundreds of years. If I'm right, hundreds of years, and it's like her first friend in 100 years. Something like that. So there's something touching and it's almost a drama.
The friendship side to it is amazing.
It's almost a drama in a horror theme, but it's more leaning to drama, but it's still a horror film. And there's some really good fucking like scenes in it, like the hospital scene with the
oh my god, yeah.
There's so many sequences. Like the horror sequences are fucking good horror sequences. Even the swimming pool scene at the end.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you really feel the characters you actually feel for. It's the main kid. You actually feel for this kid.
Absolutely.
You emphasize so much of him and you're with him the whole time. And you even go to you get a fun liking of the vampire girl almost as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's it's a unique movie, and I think it just deserves a lot more credit than it should have. The remake was obviously atrocious.
Do you know what? I never watched it because I love the original too much. I absolutely freaking love. I'm so gutted I didn't put it in mine.
Yeah, bastard. Don't even watch it. I mean, I watched it purely for curiosity because curiosity will always get me. Even if I know it's going to be shit, I will still have to watch it.
When did it come out?
2009?
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, and then the remake was 2011.
If you get a chance, Steve, watch it. It's a good
one.
watch.
On like Netflix or?
It has been on and off Netflix for a bit. I think it was on Amazon last time I know, because I recommended it to someone a while back and he watched it and loved it.
Phenomenal film. Yeah, it's a great movie.
There's one scene I really, really, really like in that film is, like Tim says, they follow, even though it's a kind of vampire-esque film, they follow the rules of a vampire. So there's a part where he says, come in the house. She said, you haven't invited me.
Yeah, that seems great.
And he's like, well, what if you do if I don't invite you?
It's the first film to tell you what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she walks in, and I won't give it away, but it shows you what happens to a vampire if they don't get invited in.
Yeah, because you know what happens when garlic water hits them. You know what happens when they sit across. Yeah. You've never seen a film where you said, like, what happens if they come into a house uninvited? And then you see what happens. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the first film to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, holy crap, this is genius.
Genius. So, yeah, a totally original and unique film, and my favourite world cinema one, definitely.
Yeah. Good choice, sir. Damn good choice. I am really glad it's not in my list, you bastard. Sorry. My number 4 is probably the kind of newest on my list, even though it's 15 years old.
That's not new?
That's the newest on my list. All the rest are older films.
Okay, gotcha.
So this came out in 2005, and It's done by a director called Neil Marshall, who did Dog Soldiers.
I know what you're going to do.
But The Descent is his second feature, is my favourite. I friggin' love that film.
It was very close to getting my top 5.
Was it really?
But it's a fucking good film.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's very, very underrated, and it's one of those ones where people didn't like the ending, but a true horror film is the ending.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's a great ending.
Absolutely.
The English one, not the American cut.
No, absolutely. Fucking don't get me started on the American cut. And then the sequel came out. Fuck, Jesus. But yeah, I love this because I admire the way it's shot. It's because if no one knows the story of the film, basically it's about a group of women who go on a camping trip or whatnot, and they go into caves, they explore and whatnot. It's kind of like the hobby thing they do, and they obviously get stuck in there. But the claustrophobic feel, the lighting, everything. Neil Marshall done it, so the lighting in the film is literally what they have on them. Like if they got to hold a lighter in their hand, that's all they're going to have. If they use the torches on their helmet, that's all they're going to have.
Yeah.
Even though if you watch the making of it, it's done in open spaces, but the way he shoots it, especially with a wide lens as well, I don't know how they do it. It's very claustrophobic. It makes me feel like I need to take a deep breath. Okay, if I'm brave, I'm breathing with them in this film, sort of thing. Yeah. And it has one of my favourite jump scares of all time in this film, the night vision camera.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Have you seen it, Steve?
No, but I've seen bits of it. And I think I've seen that night.
Watch
vision
it.
one.
It's so good.
It's so good. Even the sound effects and stuff to the creatures and everything is just...
It's a slow burn. It's a perfect fucking way to get involved with the characters, and you feel for them for the rest of it. I think the horror element doesn't happen until 40 minutes in.
At least.
45 minutes in. So the whole film is just like a character build-up. So you get to know all the characters, I know all their quirks and like funniness.
There's like one shocking bit at the beginning, isn't it? And then the rest is build-up, isn't it?
It's got the protagonist part where it's like she has a tragic past, and that's brought up throughout the most of the film. Right. And like she's got a bunch of friends with her to confine her, support her for a time of healing. It's a very good movie.
I remember the trailer and stuff, and everybody talking about it, but.
And I love the trailer. The trailers did it justice. It shows nothing at all. Yeah. And that's what I loved about the trailer.
I just seem to remember everybody saying, oh no, it wasn't that great. So I just never got my...
And this is the thing. You might have been with me, Tim. I can't remember.
I saw it on DVD.
I know it wasn't you there. No. I remember going there. There was a big group of us. It was a sold out place, and people were... You can tell people enjoying it because they get scared, and you can see it in their faces, and they jump and they jump scare and whatnot. It's literally the ending of the film is what everyone hates about it.
I like the ending.
And I love the ending. The ending makes sense. If you're with the story, I won't spoil it for you, but in terms of horror films should end like that. Okay? Yeah. I'm not going to give it away because, again, you should give it a go. It's a damn good movie. But I remember walking out of that, and a lot of people were like, it was fucking shit. And I was like, yeah, but you were shitting yourself earlier just now, so you were enjoying it at one point.
Exactly.
And up until that ending, it really pisses me off because it's such a shame.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's why it's got to be in there. It's my number 4.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Number 3, sir.
Right, I'm going to go for... The Thing.
Nice.
That's
John
so
Carpenter.
weird because that's my third one.
It's my number 2, so we're going into it. We'll all go into it.
We'll go into it. Perfect.
We'll go into it.
Well,
we're both wearing Thing t-shirts as well. So yeah, go into it. Let's all go into it.
Well, I first saw this. I think I might have said it in another episode.
Okay,
but it was Hot Shots Part 2. Right, right.
What?
Right. VHS that my uncle recorded of the film, so he had it there. I saw Hot Shots Part 2.
Right.
I thought, I want to see that. But then, as that film finished, The Thing was on the next part of the VHS copy.
Okay,
right.
What?
Random.
No,
what
like so you know, so what you used to record.
Oh, you leave it running and it's on afterwards. Yes.
Sorry, I
thought we had like a double bill VHS or something.
Right. So we're going way back when we record stuff on TV.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So obviously I watched Hot Shots, comedy, laughing through it, and then this next film starts, right? And I'm like, okay, what's this? Maybe it's the first one or something. No, I couldn't have been far different.
I had the same sort of issue with you, but we'll go in between a minute. We'll go into it later. Go on.
This film, I can't remember that much about it when I first saw it, other than being like, this is just brutal. But yeah, this is one of my favourites purely because you never know who actually is the Thing. The set pieces are brilliant.
That's the scary part of it, though.
It's so psychological. It's it's so well shot. The effects are just incredible. They still hold up. Wish the sequel went along with that, but prequel, I should say. It has to be up there just purely because you're so isolated. You never go away from the snow. You never go to another place, or you never see any other people that are outside help or anything like that. It's just you in this zone, in this horror zone. It's just you don't know who's who. I just love it. It's a great film, brilliant film.
Yeah, because this goes in my category of sci-fi horror. Yeah, and obviously Event Horizon was very close, but I had to obviously give it for The Thing.
Has to be,
of course, The Thing. Because I saw it at a very early age, probably 8 or 9 years old, probably. One of those. It was one of those during my.
No, are you serious? That young?
Yeah.
Mind you, I saw Aliens when I was 8, so...
Yeah, exactly. I saw Evil Dead when I was 8 and stuff.
No way.
Yeah, well, basically, at my... Because my dad used to... When I was on school holidays, I didn't really play out much. I was basically the cable guy.
Yeah.
So, but my mum... my dad would be working, my mum would be out working, I'd be left indoors. We wouldn't bother babysitters. Yeah. I was perfectly fine being in the house alone.
It's the same as me. Put me in front of VHS, I'll be fine.
So I always snuck up to my dad's room and watched the films I weren't allowed to come to watch.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. And I remember seeing the cover for The Thing. I was like, what the fuck is that? So it's a guy's like face, like just like stretching. It's like a blue background cover.
Yes, that's right.
On the side.
Yep. I remember that. It's the guy with Norris's head, isn't it?
Yeah, just the side of
on the side. Yeah, I remember that.
And then at the back of the cover, you've got Kurt Russell looking at the icebox, and then you got another picture of Kurt Russell with his ear bleeding.
Yeah, yes, right, yeah.
That was the back of the VHS, and I was like, But I watched it because it just said 18, and I remember watching it. I was obviously in the dog scene. I was like, okay, wow. But yeah, when you get to the whole chest burster scene, I was fucking blown away. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And I thought, and then I just knew, I was like, I should not be watching this. But I was enthralled. I was like captivated. I was like, it looked real. Yeah. And being that I was 8 and 9, I didn't understand prosthetic makeups and shit. So I I watched it not knowing how it was done. Yeah. It looked real to me.
Yeah.
I was
absolutely.
Like, fuck this. I was like, this is...
It still holds up to this day, dude.
It's a great fucking... out of all sci-fi...
The effects, anyway.
Yeah, of all cyber films, I think this one will always stand the test of time.
Absolutely. I did a similar thing to you, Ant, with Scream when you started lending it to all your friends and that. So with this, I used to say to all my mates at school, I've got this film. I don't know what it is. All I know is it's called The Thing. You got to come and see it. It's the most violent film ever. And I used to, every lunch break, I'd get a new friend to come round mine, and we'd stick it on. And I'll just quickly fast forward for all the gore scenes. Yeah. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen anything like this." It was horrific.
Awesome. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think what keeps you guessing with it as well is that you never know what the actual creature looks like, do you? In its
you never do full
form.
Stop, do you?
No.
You never will, probably. Even.
No, it's a mutation of all kinds of things.
Exactly,
which is great.
The only clue you've got is it must be of some size because of the size of the ice block that the Norwegians dig out. Yeah. However, you don't know, was that alien in a different form when it crashed?
It's basically a virus.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's very much just a virus, and then
which is who Blair treats it in the film as a virus, doesn't he?
Yeah. And that's why the whole quarantine thing happened. If it does do blood tests, it's very much a virus movie. It's there is no film like it. I think first of its time, and then I don't think any other film has been able to capture that same magic as the first one has done.
Which is weird because it's a remake, isn't it? This version,
yeah. And I wouldn't say superior. I mean, it's probably far more superior than the 50s one, but the 50s one's a different animal altogether. It's a guy in a suit. But but both hold credibility for being uniquely brilliant for their one thing. Like the original 50s one, the guy in a burning suit. Yes, he gets a gas in front of him. For its time, that was fucking phenomenal. No one had ever seen anything like that. I mean, we see getting people burn, but even if you watched it now, it's still fucking
the original.
Yeah, because
the thing from another world, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously with today's fucking prosthetic makeups and stuff. I mean, when it comes to people getting set on fire, it's more tame. If you watch that one, this is like the first time they're kind of using it.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a bit of it on fire, but then they throw more gasoline on him whilst it's on fire.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, watch that fucking scene because that is impressive. Even to today's standards, no fucking stuntman will ever copy that.
Do you think, like Predator as well, the movie would have been or at least open better if you didn't see the spaceship, so you don't actually know what it is. So like Predator, you see a spaceship, so go to Earth, so you obviously know it's something from another world.
Yeah.
Same with The Thing. You open up with the flying saucer crashing towards Earth.
Sure. But that's kind of a throw-off point, because when you see the alien spaceship, you're expecting an alien. But you don't see an alien. Because you're expecting an alien for the whole film.
But do you think so let's say you never saw the spacecraft at all, and you just see this
people,
ice block.
People would have connected the dots that it was an alien at the end of the day.
Well, half of the film that you see the spaceship, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that opening, the whole point of the opening was to throw people off, to think like, right, it's going to be like the original Thing movie. It's just a man and an alien suit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the throw-off point. It's like, here's a spaceship, you'd expect an alien, and then you see a dog running around, and then you see the other people being all cut up and shit, and you think, okay, and then they find the spaceship.
Yeah.
And the mutation thing happens, and you're just like caught off guard by it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw this. My mum actually got me to watch what is my number one list. We'll find out later. Ooh. And she's like, "Oh, if you like this movie, you'll like this." And I never get it to this day.
I love how your mum recommended.
Yeah, my mum. Do you know what? My mum is. It's weird because she will not watch a horror film nowadays. But my mum was the thing that got me into.
And you're 8 and 9.
Yeah,
awesome.
Into movies, like, and if you like this, watch this. When you watch this, whatnot, because she knew this is the stuff I like. She knew I had a thing for movies, horror, sci-fi, Ghostbusters, all that sort of stuff, comedies, and she would just be like, watch it. She couldn't care because she knew. Apart from the first one I saw, which I mentioned, I was never affected by it. It's something I enjoyed. Anyway, I never forget it to this day. It got to the dog scene, which is obviously the first big reveal, isn't it? Yeah. So we're talking all the way through. You get to know your characters, and then just like you said, Tim, the Ed Bodine effects for the dog was just fucking. Never saw that in a million years that was going to happen to the dog like that.
The dog's face splitting open.
Yeah, no. The part when he just like starts breathing noises, I thought we might just get that and it will cut. Yeah. But the next minute, his mouth, his jaw, and everything opens. Jesus fucking Christ! Yeah. I went white as a sheet when that happened. But no, watching that then, I was just waiting to, like you guys, figure out who the Thing was. But when you go back and watch it, again, you appreciate it for everything else. Like, we went and saw it at the cinema one time, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And we saw like a near picture-perfect quality. This was before the Blu-ray and all that came out.
Yeah.
And we didn't notice little things like the fucking doctor had an nose ring or something like that, I've seen the
VHS so many times. I never noticed the doctor had a fucking nose ring.
And I had the cut version as well. So when I saw that in the cinema and he goes, "You got to be fucking kidding!"
Yeah.
I thought I was watching the director's cut or something. It was just like I never knew, because obviously mine was a TV. I think mine was off Channel 3 or something.
Oh, yeah, the TV cut. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Do you ever think when you rewatch it, like, try and plan or try and work out where the Thing is? So obviously we know it's the dog at the start. And then
there's one part you can know it's a certain character because the shadow effect. When the dog walks in, you see a certain shadow. You know it's this guy's hair because it's his hair shape. Whatnot.
What's his name?
Norris.
Norris in the chair.
Yeah,
him, the stoner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the first one infected.
Yeah.
It's it's not just the acting. You got the characters. The score is fucking phenomenal as well.
Yeah, Morricone.
So well paced. It's like, how can it not be? It's in my. I think it's in my top 5 movies of all time. I'm a massive fan of the Thing. There's like no way I could do it.
Yeah.
Say what you say about the prequel. I fucking love the prequel. Prequel's one of my favourite of all time because it's a film for the fans, made by fans. Fuck you.
Yeah. Apart from digital effects.
Yeah, of course that part. But you're never going to get past that nowadays, are you? So.
When you watch the original, and obviously Kurt Russell and the Doc, is it, go to the Norwegian base, Norwegian Mac.
Hey, Sweden.
You always, I don't know about you, but I was always like, I wonder what happened here. You always wanted to know.
Absolutely.
You were like,
absolutely.
It was like left, like, and then you saw like the burnt corpses and all this weird stuff. And you just wanted to know, and obviously. Back there, we never dreamed of getting a prequel.
And when they announced it, it's a remake, and it wasn't. It was a prequel, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. It's like, how can not any fan like it? Obviously, from the thing apart from the CGI, not like it. But
and now John Carpenter's remaking it.
Yeah, and now Blumhouse has got hold of it now.
Blumhouse and John Carpenter are remaking the Thing.
Well, as in
he'll produce it. He won't direct it, but he's given the thumbs up to remake it now.
Which I did not know that.
So I'm only hoping if he's producing it, the only reason he's involved is because they're going to do it without CGI. That's my only hope.
Fingers fucking crossed. I hope so.
Why would John Carpenter do it with CGI?
Do you think he'll
Just
do it?
cash in, isn't it?
But then that's bad on him.
Do you think
course
he'll
he will.
do it just?
Would he actually get to be like that? To say, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Look at James Cameron approving the Terminator films.
No, John Carpenter doesn't strike me as that person. He's always been an original director and never folds in for studios and stuff. Always films are usually original. He's like, he's almost like Wes Craven, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
they're not.
I hope you're right, dude. Please,
I fucking hope I'm right.
I fucking hope so.
They said, are they going to sort of do the Norwegian side of it as well?
We don't know because we don't know what era it's going to be in. We don't know if it's going to be in Antarctica. I assume it will be, but we don't know if it's going to be set in the 80s or whatever.
You know, I reckon it's going to be. It's going to be the same thing, but with an all-female cast.
So it wouldn't surprise me.
I bet you that's probably what it is.
Would not surprise me.
Yeah, because they were going to do Lord of the Flies with an all-female.
Yes. Okay.
Stuff. So I think that's probably the cash element. But I'm hoping they still keep prosthetic makeups and not CGI the shit out of it. Because John Carpenter's involved, he can't. I just don't see him doing it.
Let's hope so, dude. I mean,
fucking
I hope
fingers
crossed. But going back to you when you were saying you used to record stuff and there'd be a film on afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. So I used to, like Tim said about being the cable guy. I used to record a lot of my stuff off of Sky. So say for example, a movie would be on at 10 o'clock, say a horror film. Okay. If you left it running on long play after midnight, all the Sky movie channels put soft porn films on. So when I used to when people used to borrow films off me, like, oh, can I borrow a Dragon of Bruce Lee story? Here you go, mate. They let it run, watch, right? And then afterwards, their mum's like, why is there a porn after the end of this film? And it's like, I just left it on long play. I didn't even know that movie was on.
What a combo! Dragon of Bruce Lee story followed by fucking porn.
Followed by Debbie Does Dallas.
I've got one question for you to finish on the thing.
Okay.
We're finishing. Go on, Karen.
Do you think Charles
absolutely
is infected at
Charles
the end? Or Kurt Russell's character?
Doesn't matter because they're both dead.
Exactly. Did you ever play the video game?
Oh, that's a good point.
They answer it in the video game.
Yeah. I don't know if you want. I didn't like the answer. I had to YouTube it because I know I've never completed it.
Okay, well, that's fine. I won't say it, but you know most of it, though, don't you?
I know the ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you ever agree to the theory of the end of the film? You know what I'm on about, don't you?
The breathing.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I don't really.
John. I think John Carpenter's even said no to that. The breathing thing. So even he's said no.
Was it intentional?
No. Yeah. It wasn't part of his artistic merit to put that idea in about breathing. That was just filmed like that. It was lit like that. It wasn't there for that reason. No, he deliberately filmed it to be that ambiguous that there is no answer. It is however you perceive it. So whatever your answer is the answer. I'm going for they're both human. And they just died being paranoid, not believing each other, and probably because the film cuts away, they could have just killed each other or just froze to death.
Got drunk and froze to death.
I think they were both fine.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it raises a lot of questions. It's the same with the ending to the prequel, how it just cuts to fade on her because she looks dazed and confused.
Yeah.
Could it be a case like, if I was infected, how would I know if I was? Or again, it leaves so many questions, and I love how you can just, like we are now, coming up with theories and our own explanations to the endings. Sure. That's how a true ending should be, really, isn't it? Yeah. Because I wouldn't even know how you would end a movie where something that simply can touch you can, become you. You know,
it's a virus,
it's just crazy.
I mean, you could easily follow up the thing with a sequel, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Rescue Party
but I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, we don't know what the reboot's going to be like, do we? So, what is? All right, we will finish on the fun thing. But what is your favourite line from the film?
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
See, mine is. I love the part when he's like,
yes,
what was it?
Tied to this fucking couch.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, I like the one where again going to Gary, he's like, generator's gone. Can we fix it? It's gone, McCready. It's just something. It's funny, but it's chilling at the same time. Friggin' love that line.
I think he made that line up about the couch.
He did.
Apparently, he did make it up.
Tied to this fucking couch. It's a good line, man. Good line.
Plus, their names are fucking weird.
Yeah,
they got Norris. Was it
Windows?
Who the fuck is called Windows?
A million miles from nowhere, man.
McCready player.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, stay on it.
Could be anything, anywhere.
Any one of us.
Yeah. I ain't going with Windows. I ain't
bullshit,
going.
Mac. They're dead, Mac.
It's a good choice. That was your number 3.
Duh.
That was my number 2. So it goes back to you.
What's
your
your
number 2.
Oh, God. Right, my number 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Hey! Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No.
Yes!
Wow, his number 2 is part 2.
Lisa. My God.
Kill me, Lisa. Please kill me.
Again, like Tim says, it's not your pick, but we still talk about 2.
It's a fucking masterpiece.
It is.
Yeah, no,
Compared to 5.
The first one, obviously. But obviously, we touched on this.
Yes.
Was it the first Halloween?
First episode, yeah.
First episode.
So I won't go all over it again. But yeah, the first one for me, just purely because it gave us nightmares.
Yep.
I love the Freddy Krueger character.
Yeah.
It's made an impact on you as a person, man, because ever since I've known you, you've loved...
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised it's your number 2.
I thought it was going to be number 1.
Yeah,
I honestly thought it would be number 1.
Yeah.
Sure, don't want to swap? Oh, I bet Revenge is number 1.
It's always the sequel.
Wait, number 1 is part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I've just always had a sort of fondness to the franchise.
Yeah.
I've collected the glove, got his signature, the soundtracks.
Signature.
They just hold a special place for us. So
You've done an episode on it, so
I won't go over it.
Your childhood dream, or should I say nightmare?
Just for a wet dream.
Nice.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
Number 2.
So this one is categorized under cults. Not cult films, as in cults.
Okay.
I have a fascination of cults. I'm both fascinated and fucking terrified of cults. There's a whole brainwashing aspect of it, and it's human, but you're inhumane almost. For me, it's terrifying. It's because it's so it's realistically scary for me. So loads of horror films. I mean, like Wicker Man, the original, not the fucking shitty Cage one.
Not the bees!
Not the bees! There's ones like that. But the one that will always stick out in my mind as my favourite film about occults is Kill List.
Yes!
Ooh, not seen that.
Fucking cracking film, yes.
Possibly my favourite British horror film as well.
Yeah, agreed.
I was immediately blown away the first time I saw this film. I think I watched it 6 times in 1 month.
I think I saw it twice in the cinema.
Yeah. I never saw it in the cinema. I saw it on DVD from Blockbusters.
Okay.
Yeah. But fucking amazed. I had never seen any film like this.
Was it like a cult going out to kill a...
Well, it's odd. It's unique. It's about an assassin almost. Right. So it's a guy who used to work for, I think it's an RAF team. He's got
something in the army, isn't it?
He's in the army. He's got a bad back. He can't work properly. He used to kill people for money, and then he's like, oh, I need a job or something. And then obviously his mate comes on, and they say, I think we got someone who wants to pay us to kill some people. I was like, okay, we're going to do that. And then it just trickles on into this other story, which involves a cult, and then it gets a lot more complex and fucking amazingly just strangely terrifying.
What year did it come out?
2011, yeah. But yeah, it's a slow build, slow burn, but the characters are fucking great. The main protagonist is fucking hilarious. It's actually quite a good comedy. There's a lot of scenes that absolutely make me laugh. There's a scene where him and his mate are having dinner at this restaurant in the hotel, and next to him is this group of people who are a bunch of Christians. And they're talking about God and all that kind of stuff, and obviously these are 2 hitmen trying to have dinner, and then all of a sudden one of them gets out a guitar, and then the protagonist is like he's not getting a fucking guitar, is he? And then they start saying like kumbaya kind of shit, Christian stuff, and then he just gets off of his table, grabs the guitar off the guy, and he goes, "You're giving me indigestion." And he goes, "Sorry, sometimes God's love is hard to swallow." He goes, "Yeah, not as hard as a dinner plate, mate."
Oh.
And then he goes, "God loves you." And he goes, "Does he?" I pissed myself the first time I heard that. It's just the bluntness of it. Does he?
Does he?
Because he goes, does he? He goes, well, you tell him from me, if he hangs out with people like you tell him to stay the fuck out of my way. Because Jimi Hendrix, you ain't. So it's a Cockney British film, but with a lot of like humour involved. But there are a lot of scenes that are so uncomfortable. I won't go into it if you haven't seen it, but I definitely recommend this film. It is.
Absolutely.
Have you got it?
Have you still got the shirt I got you?
Yes, I've got the shirt, I've got the steelbook, and I've got the Blu-ray signed by the director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
M. Whitney,
Nice.
mate. Great director.
Yeah. Yeah, phenomenal film. The twist at the end is unworldly. Yeah, again, it's hard to talk about.
To say,
without
I won't spoil it, but it's one of those films I never thought would change its tone from one genre to another like that.
Okay.
But it's fucking great.
But it's amazing how it does it.
Yeah. Visually, it's amazing. The sound effects are great. There's I can't go into it without spoiling.
Is this the issue? Yeah,
that's the issue. But I totally recommend Kill List. It is my second favorite horror film.
In front of my pal. In front of my pal.
It's weird. It's like
fucking pal.
Yeah, it's like it's got. So was it? What do you call it? It's got kitchen sink drama, of like true British drama. Almost like the first opening feels like a.
It's a slow burn. The opening.
Yeah, almost feels like you're watching like an episode of Brookside or something. Or
yeah,
like,
it feels like reality
it's like,
TV.
There's not like a soap, a British soapness to it. Like the opening of the film, just to get to know the characters, and then it just takes you off somewhere. It just leaves little clues, little crumbles, and it's like, okay, you see like an image of like a symbol, and like, and it comes back later, and it's like, oh, okay, and then it just picks up, and then really fucking picks up at the end, and it's phenomenal. The ending will shock you. If it doesn't, you're inhuman. you must be that. You would be part of a cult.
Absolutely,
and that scares the fuck out of me. So yeah, it's cults have always been a thing that I've found very fascinating.
It pops up on Amazon Prime every now and then. So if it does, give it a shout, dude.
Yeah. Is it like the thought of almost like a greater power at work?
Yeah, but it's exactly. It's like you ever see that documentary, Wild Wild Country, on Netflix?
Okay.
Watch that.
Yeah, that's good.
It's fucking terrifying. It's this little town in America. These people just buy the land. They create this cult that gets such a massive following. It becomes global, and people are like summoning things. Their eyes are gone. That's what scares me, when someone's eyes are not there, when they're not in this world almost. Cults fucking terrify me in that aspect. But I'm fascinated by the fact, like, what makes a person go that far into losing almost reality, that you're in some other zone, like you're not human.
You're that brainwashed.
You're not human no more. You're part of a system.
Yeah.
You're part of like a cog in a machine.
It's like you're not in charge of yourself anymore.
You're not you. You're not
exactly.
human. There's almost something inhuman about it. Like, you've got no identity. You are just a thing of this cult, and it's fucking terrifying. That scares the shit out of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it comes to horror, Kill This did that very well, I think. Even though it's not fully about a cult, it just has the cult element. But the way it's done, it's just a good horror film. But as a good cult, obviously the original Wicker Man is top for that.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Christ! No, please God, no, Christ!
The Lord's my shepherd.
Did you ever like the director's cut of that? The Wicker Man.
I liked the director's cut. It didn't need those extra scenes to make it better, but I did like the extra scenes.
Yeah, totally.
But it doesn't make it better. So the theatrical and both director's cut both work.
You can see why they cut it in the first place.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You know what? My sister had the luckiest way of watching that film. So I'd seen this film before, and my sister had never seen or even heard of it. I knew when I saw the film, I knew the poster. You know, I'd never seen the film, but I knew the poster.
Mm-hmm.
My sister had never seen the poster, never seen the film.
Okay.
So I showed her this film, saying, "Stick with this. It's weird." But she was just like watching this whole film. She's like, "These are weird." She's almost laughing throughout the whole film. But the end scene when you see the Wicker Man, she freaked out. She's like, "What the fuck is that?" Because she had never seen the poster.
Yeah.
When you saw Wicker Man, you knew of the
course,
the Wicker.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you know that's coming. My sister didn't know.
Oh wow!
So
I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah. So when she saw that was her first reveal. She's like, "What the fuck?" And then it freaked her out. And then when he fucking dies at the end, you're just like,
yeah, I'm gutted that I never got to see it like that. I probably would have had the same impact.
I wish I had that experience. My sister got that. She was lucky.
Very lucky. Have you seen Wicker Man?
No.
Oh, dude, I watched the original, dude.
I know of it.
Yeah, exactly. You know the poster.
Yeah,
exactly. It's because it's so iconic, and like you've seen it going past HMV and stuff or on TV. But yeah, so good, yeah. But yeah, I was lucky enough to, because I can't remember what my dad did with Texas Chainsaw. So when that happened with me, I feel like, I might do this myself. I'm going to make her see The Wicker Man without knowing.
But you knew of Texas before you even got to watch it though, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm saying that aspect of like the surprise element of like that ending.
Yeah, it's like I was saying with my mum when she knew about the dog and I didn't.
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
Because I never had the front cover VHS thing like you had or whatever, or anything to indicate that. So yeah. So no, I get it. I would love to see Wicker Man if not another place.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah.
Kill List, a very good choice, sir.
Thank you.
That was your number 2. My number 2 has already been taken. What's your number 1, sir?
Oh, here we go.
Number
Nightmare
2. Time.
It's Nightmare 2, it's got to be. Or 5.
No, so for me, this is one of my favourite films of all time.
Oh, not just horror. Wow.
Not just horror, no.
It's got to be Freddy's Revenge. It's got to be. If it's not,
it's got some great lines in it.
No. Come on, Jesse.
It's just a beautifully shot film, and one that I think you still to this day trying to work out clues behind it, and I guess what's the word I would say? What was the director intending?
I'm intrigued now.
I'm trying to figure it out. Sounds like a Christopher Nolan film.
and some people will just watch it for what it is and think, oh no, there isn't anything extra to it. But I think there is extra stuff, and it's 1980, The Shining, Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, nice.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Wow. I would never have thought you were going to pick that.
Good choice.
Just absolutely love it. It's,
good choice,
I could watch it over and over. I just find it a masterpiece of filming.
Well, it's Kubrick, one of the greatest.
Jack Nicholson just he's so immense in it.
Yeah.
His acting he just sells the character perfectly. I just love the way it builds. You know, him just going into this, like turning into this maniac so slowly. You know, he's just slowly turning. You never know what scenes are quite real and that. There's so many little hidden bits in it. I love the chase cam, and you got the 2 girls, and
it was the first film to use Steadicam, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah,
yeah.
But apparently there is just so many hidden things in the way it was shot. How everything is symmetrical. The carpets, everything is symmetrical. There's always, if there's a picture on one wall, there's a picture on the other. I think they I know they made a documentary about it.
Yeah,
have you seen it?
Yeah. And they're still like they're literally like going through the footage, working out if that's there, is that to do with it? And
the Red Indians on about.
Yeah. So they got like the old like burial ground and that. And then there's pictures on the wall, and there's masks and spears and stuff like that.
The Red Book as well.
Yeah. For me, I saw it. My brother was watching it, and I watched it with him years and years ago. I was probably about 12, 14 at the time, and. Yeah, it scared me. That
I was going to say, did it ever scare you?
Yeah, and it still does to this day. I just find there's like a sort of a greater power behind the film, as it were.
I remember, when was it? 2012, 2013, on Halloween night, me and Tim went to the cinema to see the director's cut.
Oh, the American version.
The American version. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Did you like that version?
There's only one scene that stood out. It was just you just see a whole way with skeletons, and it didn't.
But you had the scene with.
Oh yeah, the opening with the psychiatrist and the kid. Yeah. Adds a little more depth, I guess, but I can't understand why Kubrick didn't want it in there, because it doesn't add to the film.
No,
at all. Doesn't give more depth or anything. It's a nothing thing.
Yeah, it's a cool scene though. The skeleton scene, though.
Yeah,
I've not seen this. I need to have a look at it.
Yeah, so I think it's the lobby, isn't it, or something?
It's the lobby. Yeah, it's all covered in cobwebs, and there's people with skeletons just sitting on the tables and stuff. But if you get the American Blu-ray, it'll be on that one. It's region free. Just get the American Blu-ray.
And I think you can get I think it's on the HMV release. They've done the premium collections. I think the director's cut's on that, because I think I had it at one point.
Yeah.
But then I had the standard Kubrick box set, so I just traded it in.
It's 2 scenes. That's it.
Yeah,
literally 2 scenes,
right.
and it's like 3 minutes.
I remember when we watched that scene in the cinema. It's like we both looked at each other and go, "That's new." I don't remember that part. It's a cool scene, but it's very short. It's not even like 10 seconds. Is that?
Yeah, it's not even that.
It's I would say for me, it's almost a perfect movie.
Okay.
Sure.
However, there is 2 things that just don't make sense.
Right.
One is obviously now when you watch it, the maze on the exterior shot of the hotel, there's no maze there. That was obviously a totally different location.
Okay.
Secondly, the end scene. I don't know how this skipped past Stanley Kubrick, but when they're chasing around out in the snow, there's no breath.
Oh, they've got no moisture, have they?
Yeah.
They've got no breath, yeah.
And he was very particular about picking absolutely everything up to make sure it was always spot on in all his films. I just don't know how he let that slip, or did he do it on purpose? You just don't know.
You see breath coming out their mouth?
No, apparently you don't when you watch it.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Not all the time? Maybe it's just the lighting. I don't think that's...
yeah, because it's brought up in the Room 237 documentary that they forget the moisture, the breathing part.
I remember him shouting Danny and seeing breath come out his mouth, though. I do remember that.
It was probably close-ups on that, but parts when they're being chased, there's like nothing.
It's obviously
to show
not,
that they're
basically
breathing.
it was obviously
That's
not shot in a cold.
It might be just due to lighting. It might be,
possibly.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a continuity error. Kubrick is definitely not that. No, I don't. No,
Might have to look. I think
that's going back to that documentary. A lot of it is a bit of horseshit. I mean, a lot of the theories are.
Yeah.
They are fishing.
Yeah,
the whole bit where there's like he thinks there's a penis, like, and it's all it is a folder or something.
Or if you watch it backwards one way and forwards another, it collides with such and such.
I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, do you imagine Kubrick saying, "Oh, I've got to film it like this, but I've got to remember the ending's like that."
Exactly.
It's like, come on,
it's just coincidence, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's dwelling in too far conspiracy theories to a fucking horror film, which makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah.
It's just people fishing too much. It's because he's done the right thing by just saying, let you find whatever fucking answer you think it is. You know, the ending was just a throw-in. I think it was just to throw people off.
The picture you're talking about.
Yeah, the picture at the end.
Yeah.
It was just to say there is no real meaning to it. He's just thrown it in there. Just to say fuck you almost. Just to say
it leaves you guessing, doesn't it?
Well, that's the idea. Yeah, but then people have come up with that picture.
It's like basically saying that Jack has become part of Jack Nicholson's character has become part of the hotel, isn't it? It's like the hotel has consumed him almost.
It's to do with ancestry. Is one of the theories I heard? Like the bartender, his dad worked there in the 1940s, and then that's him then. And then apparently that Jack character is an ancestors of him, so it's an ancestral thing. So basically the hotel is working as a loop of time every 40 or 50 years. Someone gets murdered in the place from an ancestors that used to live there. So that's one theory. And then there's the whole Red Indian burial ground theory. But there's no real answer. And it doesn't fucking
And I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah, it doesn't need an
answer. You can go along with all these different theories, but ultimately it's just a brilliant horror film.
It's just a well-made movie. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a very good horror film for sure.
I don't feel like Stanley did that scene with the skeletons. It felt like a producer might have done it, or a second unit must have done that.
Yeah, because that's probably why Kubrick cut it. It is a bit un-Kubrick, because it is a bit cheap looking. Like even the skeletons look cheap.
Absolutely, that's why I was like, when we were shocked looking at us, I was like,
that's a bit cheap.
That can't be Kubrick. That just seemed a bit too.
Yeah.
It's probably studio, maybe studio influence as well. Yeah, but
the music's brilliant, and I just love that bit how when Jack Nicholson's going up the stairs, he's like, "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to smash you,
Wendy, darling,
Wendy,
light of my life. I'm not going to hurt you."
I have to say that I fucking love the carpet in that film.
Yeah,
I love the
that's
pattern.
in Toy Story, isn't it?
Yeah, I even got a cardigan that pattern. I freaking love that thing.
Yeah, it's a iconic film for sure, and definitely one that holds up through time. And
wasn't one of the theories on that thing about that he's abusing his son because he's wearing a jumper of Apollo?
How could you?
Apollo 11 or something. They're saying it's like a reference. I think you're just clutching at.
What I'm saying, that documentary.
It's the big theory with Stanley Kubrick filming it, isn't it? So
that documentary is a bit far fetched. Some of the theories are way beyond bullshit. Like I said, people are just fishing. Some of them are good ideas though, but I said all it is ideas. But I would not, find a thing and say that's what the director's intent was. You don't know that.
No.
You never will. So there's no point.
This is it.
The one answer I want is, and you might know this. You know when she's being chased, Wendy's being chased.
Yeah.
She's not really had any visions of anything, has she?
Oh yeah, the dog.
But so then she goes past that room where there's like a guy
getting blowjob
from like a guy in a
from
dog
the
suit
furry
or
guy.
something.
Yeah, the guy in the teddy bear
Right, so
suit.
what is that?
Make it what you will, sir.
I assume it's what they were doing in the time people were alive there and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's it could be that it's a time capsule.
Yeah, it's like, why is there a granny in a bathtub?
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah, but you can see that's Jack's obviously where Jack Nicholson's character's going all like crazy
because it's loosely based on the Stephen King book. I mean, obviously Stephen King hates
it, doesn't he?
Because the book's completely different. Like the fucking maze comes alive or something, and then there's like was it like some of the bushes are shaped like monsters, and then they actually come alive and stuff and start.
I don't see Stanley doing that.
No, of course not. So he just tweaked. He tweaked it and made it his own thing. So to look at it as a Kubrick horror film, yeah. To look at it as a Stephen King horror film, no. I think that's where a lot of people are divided by it, but. Kubrick, at the end of the day, made a fucking incredible film. Even though as a horror film, I understand when you're saying it's like not just your favourite horror film, but just favourite horror film. It's generally
a great film.
It's a masterpiece. No, it is a great movie.
What is it that scares you about it?
Jack Nicholson.
Because I love the movie. Like Tim said, it's a masterpiece, but I've never had it really scare me. I've never really fought any fear from it at all.
No, I don't know.
I'm more respectable of how it was made.
Yeah, same.
Performances from Jack Nicholson's amazing.
Yeah.
But no, I never found it like this is gonna like shit my pants or.
Yeah, I mean, what is it to you, Steve?
I don't watch it like shit in my pants. I watch it with like this. I guess like mindset of being scared of not exactly knowing what is going on there.
The unknown.
Yeah, it's not like I'm like hiding behind a pillow. There's nothing in it that makes you jump. Yeah. It's just that kind of there's like an unknown presence and an unknown force there, and you never really quite know exactly what it is. I don't know. It's just like, and I guess just like saying about a massive hotel, loads of rooms. I guess the way it's shot as well, but you never know what's behind some of those doors. And there was obviously stuff going on there.
Yeah.
I do find the little Danny kid a bit freaky, a bit like
Kubrick.
Holy shit!
Kubrick. Apologies to Kubrick. So Kubrick. That's a new one. Kubrick has that thing about actors doing weird faces in all of his films.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but every film he does it.
Yeah, it's a trademark, isn't it?
It is a trademark to Kubrick. Even Tom Cruise does it. Eyes wide shut when he's in the car.
Yep.
It's fucking weird. I don't know what that face represents. Like the gone look. Like
Malcolm McDowell doesn't like in the first shot of Clockwork Orange, doesn't he?
All Kubrick films, even Full Metal Jacket. Pyle does it when he's in the toilet.
Yeah.
Bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah. True.
So every Kubrick film has that gazed face of the eyes. Gone
gazing, isn't it?
Just gone into nowhere. You're not in reality anymore. It's almost like a cult, like that he's been brainwashed or something.
Brainwashed
like,
cult.
Yeah, and a loss of identity. I'm guessing that's what it is. Like your identity's going. You're not Hugh. That's what that looks. That's what that look is.
Yeah,
maybe that's a trademark thing from Kubrick. But yeah, and I've noticed that Kubrick has that weird face, except for his early films like Pride and Glory and Spartacus. But they're more studio made.
Yeah, of course. They're the ones where I never noticed that Stanley did them films. When someone said, "Oh, that's the Stanley,"
like
really?
Spartacus, you're just like, "How?"
Yeah,
that looks nothing.
I would never. No.
The amount of times in the movie, like the music starts building, but you think something's going to happen, then bang, Thursday or something like that, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's like out of nowhere.
Exactly,
I
like that.
Yeah.
Catch you off guard.
Yeah.
Good choice, sir.
Yeah.
Two legs on lamb. You like a lamb, Doc?
And of course...
You don't!
And then it was close. The other one I was going to pick...
Yeah.
Freddy's Revenge.
Was it really?
No,
was it really?
Well, what could beat The Shining?
Well, I honestly thought you either were going to have Freddy's Revenge, Jaws. I didn't see Shining there. You never mentioned Shining. You always talk about Nightmare. I'm very shocked you didn't number one. Very shocked.
Yeah, I actually thought it was going to be Nightmare. No, Shining. Good
choice.
Good
choice.
Yeah.
Tim, number one, sir.
Right, so
on all time.
This falls in the category of the first and pretty much only film that actually gave me a nightmare.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you how I first saw this film, because I saw this late. I was probably 19 when I first saw this. So this is after a night of clubbing. I came home quite pissed, flicked on the TV, and it was on BBC Two. I'd probably missed the first 20 minutes of the film.
Okay.
So this within 20 minutes in, this scene came on, and it was a dinner scene. It was all in black and white, and it was weird and surreal, and I just could not figure out what this was.
I think I know this.
Yeah. So obviously, throughout the course of the film, I was very intrigued by what I was seeing. I actually thought it was a film made from the 1940s. I later found out it wasn't. But the film I saw, which I was drunk watching, was Eraserhead by David Lynch. This film actually gave me a nightmare. So when I was watching it, the dinner scene was surreal, to say the least. So there's people around the table. It's all in black and white. There's chicken on the table. The guy cuts the chicken, but then the legs start moving, and the chicken starts bleeding. And then the mother on the table starts making this strange face and weird noise with her mouth, going, ha, 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 ha. And then she starts.
You really need to see Steve's face right now. He's like mortified.
And then she goes. Then the mother starts screaming and yelping. Goes, ah, 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 then runs out the room. And then the dad on the table goes, she'll be all right. And I remember seeing the scene, going, what the fuck am I watching? And I was pissed out of my brain. I was like, this is hilarious. And I thought it was a comedy almost. And then it's like, because it's a film, because it was black and white, I thought it was like a 40s film. But then obviously, as the film went on, it gets a lot more surreal and weird and fever dreamish. You've never seen it, I take it.
No.
I'm not going to say too much then.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, but you're basically, it felt like I was watching someone's nightmare.
Right.
Which ended up having...
Being your nightmare.
Which it literally did. And I actually woke up in sweating and shaking. And I've never had a movie do that to me, ever.
And it's not really a horror film, though, is it? It's just...
it is.
Do you think it is?
It is. Okay. Oh, well, it's classed as horror.
Is it? I didn't think it was.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's a classed as a horror film.
Okay.
There are themes to it that could, suggest as to what it represents. But like old Lynch films, almost like with the Kubrick Shining, everything's left to interpretation to the point where it's whatever you perceive your answer to be. Lynch has always stated to all of his films, he's only done 10 films in his career, and he's always said, I will never give you answers or meanings to my film. That is entirely up to you. He has his own answer. He will never tell you what his films are about.
Was this the first one?
This is his very first film. I'm very lucky and privileged that my first ever Lynch experience.
For some reason, I always thought Elephant Man was his first. I don't know why.
That's the second.
Oh, it was the second.
Yeah. Obviously, Eraserhead took him to fame. He got him notice. And then obviously Elephant Man, the rest is history. But yeah, no, Eraserhead. The imageries in the film were... I think it was to do with the fact I was drunk as well. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was in and out of like half sleep watching this film, which is basically a fever dream, nightmarish movie. The most strangest sound effects I've ever heard, and just some of the images of like the baby.
Yeah,
which I can't say. I was like, because it's not really a baby. I don't know what it is, but
does it still horrify you today?
Well, it doesn't horrify me anymore, but it takes me back to that nightmare. But it doesn't
affect you as much as it did.
Not as effective. It just takes me back, almost like a nostalgia thing, but not really a nostalgia thing.
Of course.
But it's a film I really fucking appreciate. Obviously, it's a fantastically made film. The film took them 7 years to make or something.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because it took them 4 years, then they had to take a break, and then came back again, do reshoots 2 years later.
Yeah,
so it took pretty much 7 years to make it. But I've never seen a film like that, of that caliber. And then obviously I got obsessed with the director, and I was like, I need to see more of his films. And then I saw Lost Highway after that, and then I watched... I remember seeing... this is kind of nitpicking, actually, because the first kind of Lynch film I saw, this is probably when I was probably like 6, 7 or something. My dad watched Dune.
Yep.
I still to this day have not seen Dune. I know I've seen it as a kid. I remember images, but I've never entirely seen the film, so I wouldn't count that as my first Lynch movie.
Yeah.
In technicalities of like visual of my eyes seeing films, that's his first one. But my first actual experience is Eraserhead, and it's fucking fantastic.
1977.
Yeah. And when I watched it, I think it was like a 40s film, because even the way people speak in it is very 40s like.
Started filming in 70, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you're watching it, and I was watching it just confused, but couldn't look away because I didn't understand it. I was like, what is this film about? Over time, I've watched it so many times now, and it can pretty much speak about parenthood, the fear of becoming a parent, the fear of becoming a dad, the fear of marriage, the anxiety of like saying, if this is it, this is the rest of your life now, do you want it? It speaks a lot of volumes and a lot of layers. That's how I can see it. There's many ways other people have seen his films. This is what Lynch's experiences are like. You can watch it and see it in a way that I don't see it. That's what's so great about Lynch. He's one of my all-time favourite directors, and it's why I've had to put that as my number one.
Okay.
Especially for horror films. One of my favourite directors and my number one horror film of all time.
Do you think you would have got into Lynch a different way if you hadn't watched it on that night? Or
I'm pretty sure I still would have been into Lynch. I'm glad it was Eraserhead, because one, it's his first film, and the way I experienced, like I said, my first experience gave me a nightmare, and I think that's exactly what I would want, because it's more films don't affect me as much as that one has. That's probably the most effective one. But
can you understand why it affected you at the time?
I just gathered the fact, like, mixing alcohol with a Lynch film doesn't without knowing that you're watching a Lynch film.
Yeah,
without knowing, it's almost like taking drugs you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of my all-time favorites directors. And Lost Highway, when I watched that one, even that was fucking incredible. That was weird. But
I think that was the first Lynch film I watched.
Nice. Yeah, that was my second. And then Mulholland Drive. Well, I don't know what the order was after that, but I remember Lost Highway was definitely second.
I think the last two, I've never seen Mulholland or Empire.
You've never seen Mulholland Drive?
No.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I think I've seen bits of it. I've never seen it all the way through. Never seen it all the way through.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's like his masterpiece.
Oh, is it really?
I would say it's his best film, Mulholland Drive.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, Eraserhead.
But you really rated Eraserhead.
No, Eraserhead's like because the first experience I've had from him. I mean, that's the first film to ever give me a nightmare.
Yeah.
But as an actual film, as in like his filmography, I've seen Mulholland Drive more.
Yeah, I can only remember certain bits. I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
Oh, it's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I need to watch it. And the last one he did.
Yeah, Inland Empire is...
That's it, Inland Empire.
That is a struggle. I mean, I've only seen it 3 times, but that's a struggle.
Okay.
That is one of the most difficult films to watch. It takes a lot to watch that film all the way through, because not only is it 3 hours,
oh wow,
it feels longer.
Jesus.
I mean, it's his last film, because Tarantino's pretty much copying what Lynch has done by saying he's made 10 films and that's it, he's retired. And that's what Tarantino's now doing. Now everyone's like rating Tarantino as being like, this guy's like, oh, you're going to do 10 films, that's it. It's like, Lynch did it first. Mm-hmm. He's just basically copying Lynch. Like he does with other stuff. He just mimics other films.
He's done like TV stuff, hasn't he, and stuff?
Lynch, yeah. The Twin Peaks. Yeah. Now he's a painter, and he's got a school that studies meditation, translucid meditation now. And he does weird, typical Lynch, every day on YouTube. He reports the weather. And it's the most basic news. It's only the weather where he's at.
Sunny today. Bye.
Pretty much, literally just that. It's like about a minute, not even that. He just go.
And this is on YouTube
every day. He'll just put on YouTube. He's got like a podcast mic. He's got a desk. He's all dressed in black.
Dude, you need to send me the link to this.
He smoked a cigarette and he goes, "Good morning. It is December 5th, or whatever the date is." And then he goes, and then he'll look out the window. The sky is blue. There are some clouds with maybe some grey to it. And it's windy. Have a good day, everybody. So, yeah. And just an odd character. A man who takes the life imitating art. I mean, he is an artist. When it comes to directors, he's one of the ones of the greatest out there. There's no one else like him. He's unique and should be followed and respected. And I think more people should watch David Lynch films and experience either nightmares or just pure bewilderness of something that you've never seen before. Because Lynch is not... Watching a Lynch film isn't just watching a film. It's an experience. And you will never...
You're describing that dinner scene just... weird, man.
What does the mum do again?
What
does the mum do?
Yeah,
good choice.
Strange Human Behavior. That is pretty much Lynch. It is amazing though. It's comical as well. It will make you, if you're laughing, that's probably because you should be laughing.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you're horrified, you should be horrified. He brings out emotions. His films are like expressionist movies. So it doesn't matter if you don't understand what the film's about. It's what you're feeling. It's what the emotions are you're going through his movies. And you will always get that with a Lynch film. So I'd say Mulholland Drive, if you're going to watch a first one, I would suggest that one.
Okay. If you're ever going to get into Lynch?
Yeah.
I'd
say that one. I think I was lucky with Razorhead, but if you want to, with Lynch, I think you want to be respectful and like you want to really, because I think Mulholland Drive is an easy one to follow, to understand as well. It's one of those ones you have a grasp.
Yeah.
It's probably the last 10, 20 minutes you start going,
what's going here?
Yeah. But Mulholland Drive is easily, I think, his best film. Out of all his movies, it's his best one. But Eraserhead is the first horror film to really give me a nightmare. Hence why it's number one.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Damn good choice, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good choice. My number one is pretty much, it's pretty much same and simple.
Jaws?
No.
Holy shit. I thought it was going to be Jaws.
No. But it is a 70s film. And it would have been, it's one of the ones I was there when it saw it.
Hold on. It's not Jaws. What
Alien.
But
Yes.
Oh, because you said Aliens before, so I thought you put Alien and Alien. Wow.
No. So Aliens was the first film I ever saw, horror film I ever saw, but Alien 1 is my favourite horror film of all time.
Good choice.
You all know what it is. I mean, it's Alien.
Brilliant.
It truly does. I mean, it's not only is it brilliantly filmed, it's scored, acted, everything. It's still a film today. Like, if I watched it in a dark room, it still terrifies me to this day. I know a lot of people laugh at the chest burst scene for starters, but there's this one specific scene in that film where Lambert and what's the other black guy called? Parker,
yeah.
Lambert and Parker are literally being killed by the alien, and Sigourney Weaver is running towards them. But it's in this dark corridor. As she runs through the Nostromo, and she can hear over the tannoy that her friends are being mullered, killed, butchered by this creature. Mm-hmm. That is terrifying. If I was in that ship all on my own, hearing that sound, I would shit my pants. I don't care what anyone says. In that situation, you would do the same fucking thing. It's just... It's like, how can you not? I mean, it's
like going back to that thing where you said like, you wish you was there the first time it came out.
Yeah.
Because it would be much more terrifying then. Because you was tamed to probably other films before then. You've seen other horror films before that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember my mum always saying, whatever you do, don't ever see Alien. She was like horrified.
If I was told that, I'd be like, now I want to see it.
Yeah. I just saw it in my friends.
It's just, I mean, it's everything. To me, like you said with one of your favourite films, Steve, to me, I think it's one of the perfect films ever. One of them favourites, perfectly done.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of the director's cut as much because it cuts the original down.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Remember what I was going to say now?
I was going to say I did know that the score was changed, wasn't it?
Yes.
They didn't like Jerry Goldsmith's music to it, was it? And then he had to change a load of it or something? Not sure.
So he done a score.
Yeah.
And during editing, they hated it.
Okay.
So they put the score in that he didn't like in the film, which is in the film now.
Yeah.
Which is, again, truly terrifying, to be honest.
That's good. It's cool. Yeah.
It's still pretty fucking good, though, isn't it?
It's basically, it's not so much a score, so much the noises, sound effects. Kind of what the Exorcist 3 does.
Yes.
Where it's not,
less is more, though, isn't it? Again, on that
it's not. You don't really hear instruments. You hear sound effects. It's not really music. The opening credits I'm more or less talking about.
Yes, it's literally just a sound, isn't it? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That opening song is great, and then you got the lovely orchestral music for the wake up.
Yes. Yeah. Very typical Jerry Goldsmith, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very Jerry Goldsmith. Yeah.
I remember what I was saying. So basically, 3 out of my 5 were sci-fi horror films. The reason why I love sci-fi horror films is that if you think about it, it could happen.
Sure.
We don't know, the fear is of the unknown. We could travel up, mining up in space so often, come across an alien organism, and it could be a real thing. I don't know if you ever saw, I know you've seen it, Tim, Pandorum.
Yeah.
No,
so it's a sci-fi horror, tried to be very Run Horizon-esque, but it's not as good, obviously. But Pandorum is basically a symptom of hypersleep in the film. It could be like, oh, you got an itch, you've got amnesia, brain hemorrhage, whatnot.
It's basically hypothermia.
Yeah,
it's like a hypothermia. You know, when you hallucinate and you're warm when you're really cold. It's like it's that kind of like feverish dream.
It's all symptoms of hypersleep. Yeah. And when they were watched the making of that movie, and they said, funny enough, Pandorum could be a real thing in life. Because hypersleep isn't invented yet, Pandorum could be a real symptom later in the future. And that's what I love about the horror sci-fi stuff. It's like, you know, an organism like a xenomorph could be out there in real life.
Yeah, of course.
You know, exactly. And that's what terrifies me. This is why I love films like this.
This is what I was saying, like, sci-fi horror, I think, is it's almost untapped, isn't it? There's so many avenues you could go down. There's sci-fi is unknown, isn't it? You can literally make your own rules up. You can do anything you want. But like Tim said, you need the budget for it. And unfortunately, I just don't think...
Yeah, and Ridley Scott was under so much pressure for this film. He still delivered big time with this, boy. Considering he come off of one film before this, wasn't it?
Yeah, The Duelist.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Because he did
with Harvey Keitel, isn't it?
Yes. And David Carradine.
That's it.
Yeah. Didn't he do? I think he did car adverts before, kind of like what Michael Bay did.
Yes,
Ridley Scott did car adverts or did
TV adverts of some sort, wasn't it? Yeah.
Then what's the ship called that they go down to, where the eggs are? The distress beacon comes from.
Yeah, it's
because I always
derelict ships.
Yeah, so you know that shot where it's quite low, looking up at it. You got the blue sky behind, but quite dark, isn't it, as well? I just find that shot
terrifying, man.
It is. You just don't know what is in this ship because it's huge.
Absolutely. And I love how some of the things he did to make it bigger. Like he shot his kids in the spacesuit when he panned back to the space jockey. So they look adult, but because they're smaller, it makes the space jockey look even bigger. Fucking great idea to do just that one shot. Yeah. And even that one shot's terrifying. I think there's one bit where they find the cave with the eggs and whatnot, but the camera stays on the space jockey for like 5 seconds and it does that creepy music to it. It is a terrifying shot.
Because I think you see like a bit of its face in the frame, don't you? That's right. And you
almost think it's going to move or something, but it doesn't. And that's, it's so creepy, man. And to this day, the Xenomorph alone would scare me. If I was in a dark corridor with that fucking thing, if you ever played Alien Isolation, I love that game, but it is a fucking terrifying game. If they ever put that in VR, fuck that shit. There's no way I'm playing
not a chance.
But yeah, it has to be in there, man. I mean, Aliens was the first one to watch, but when I watched, I remember when I watched Alien, I was waiting for more to turn up because I'd seen Aliens. Yeah. And then when the film ended, I said to my mum, what, there was just one after all that? She's like, it's called Alien. And I was like, you got me there, Mum. And then that's when she put the thing on afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember hearing about how James Cameron did the sequel? How he got?
No.
Oh, it's quite. I'm not big on James Cameron. I mean, he obviously has done some amazing films, but I think I can tell he's a dick in real life. You know, he's a man. Yeah. He's a man that obviously sells technology in his films. I think the films come last, technology comes first for him, with like Titanic and Avatar and all that stuff. I mean, he used to be a fantastic director. Now he's kind of a sellout. But with Aliens, I will give him credit to this. It was quite a badass move. He went to the to 20th Century Fox because there were ideas of a sequel to not to Alien, but to it was like some other film. But he came in. He wanted to do an Alien sequel. There was no intentions of doing it.
Yeah.
So what he did was he didn't really say anything. He walked in the room, went to a blackboard, typed in Alien, looked at everyone, went back to the board, put an S at the end, looked at everyone, and then he put a line above the S and below the S, as in to represent dollars, money. And he just said, "That's my next movie."
Nice.
Wow.
This is straight after Terminator, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
That is badass.
I think that might have been it. I think they wanted a sequel to Terminator. I think he wanted to do a sequel to Alien. So rather than that's when he did the chalkboard thing. Or the whiteboard.
So
just put an S at the end.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer the second or first one?
One. Hands down.
To me, they're just both. I can't.
That's
can't
not
pick.
The question.
I know.
You pick one. You pick one.
Well, one is.
It doesn't matter if it's two, dude. It's your opinion.
One's a sci-fi horror. One's a sci-fi horror action movie.
Exactly.
Two.
Fine.
That's fine.
That's yours.
We don't discriminate on the M.T.V.B.
No. Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
It's like your choice is your choice, man.
Yeah. It should have been.
Dude, if you put Freddy's Revenge in a number one, I would have high-fived you, mate. So yeah.
I said, my God.
Yeah, my God. So when they re-released the director's cut of Alien in 2003, the trailer literally stated the scariest movie of all time, and it is my scariest movie of all time. Obviously not you guys, but mine. That's why it's got to be number one.
Ah, good choice. That's yours. That's fantastic.
I mean, brilliant film. Brilliant.
Yeah. Again, when it comes to, because then that sci-fi category, it was hard. It was like Alien, Event Horizon. I was like, fuck, and I just had to pick the film.
And I had so many I picked for, and again, because at the end of the day, sci-fi horror is my favourite, is my jam. It's
definitely.
I had to put. I know it's a bit boring putting three of the same subject in there, but
no, that's your list, man.
Yeah, but we all had some really good, interesting ones there, and I really appreciate you guys coming down and talking about it.
I think for me, a special mention has to be Jaws.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was not in there.
I know.
It's like you mentioned it a lot, and you're like, it's not in the 5.
How is it not on yours? How?
To me, this goes back to the question. I don't really class it as a horror.
I think it is, though.
So you guys, you're saying it is. To me, it's not horror enough to go in the top 5. It probably is in the top 10, but not the top 5.
What would you class that as then? It's definitely not a family film.
No, definitely not. It's definitely like a thriller, maybe.
Thriller?
Yeah.
A shark serial killer.
It's a drama.
There is some dramatic.
It's a musical.
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I mean, surely it is a horror because we've been talking about it all day, but I just never saw it as one.
That's fair.
But obviously, from today it is. So, but no, because I've got it on here as like one of my favourite ones that scared me because obviously it scared like most people did of the water. So
has anybody
we
got
can
any,
save that for another episode. Scariest
honourable
scariest
mentions or?
I've got loads, dude. I've got loads.
Go ahead.
The Witch.
Fuck yes. Any A24 horror film.
Yeah, The Witch is definitely one in there. That scene when she's in the shed with the goats scared the shit out of me. Yeah. Like, I'm truly terrified of that film. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah,
we saw that. We saw that movie in the cinema, and everyone shat their pants on that part. But even though the ending wasn't the ending they wanted, everyone hated the film. But then they shat themselves. I guarantee it, man. Everyone did in that cinema.
Yeah, it's good film. Another A24 mentioned Midsummer, which and Hereditary. Both those two films by Ari Aster are incredible. Midsummer, because obviously for the cult aspect, that was another one that was close to being my number 2 choice. But obviously, it's too new. These are all-time favourites, so it's just come out. I can't class it as an all-time. I haven't given that much chance yet. I've got to give it more time, really, because it only came out last year. But a fantastic movie. It's a daytime horror film. You don't get many of those.
I still love Psycho.
Yeah. The original?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The Gus Van Sant one.
You never know. Someone might put it in there. The shot-for-shot remake, isn't it?
Vince Vaughn did way better than Perkins, didn't
I put Hellraiser in mine as well.
Of course, Hellraiser.
Yeah, Hellraiser's got to be in there. Yeah. Totally different type of horror.
The first one, especially.
By far.
You know, I watched Clive Barker's, was it Lord of Illusions the other week? What a piece of shit.
Is it? Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Oh, yes. It's got the different box and Helena in it.
Yeah. And it's got Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap. Yeah.
That was his last film, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because he did Nightbreed before that.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a piece of shit.
Well, that's why he's never directed since.
Not surprised.
Any more?
Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, original?
Both.
I like the original and the remake.
Yeah,
totally, both good. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's Zack Snyder's best film rather than a good horror remake, but it's Zack Snyder's best fucking movie.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Way better than 300.
I never forget when I went and saw that, I was like totally shocked because again, I saw the original and I was like, holy fuck, this is actually really good.
Yeah. That fucking baby scene is
yeah, man.
that was terrifying. Baby zombie.
Now don't
just giving birth.
Now don't think different of me when I say this one, but I put The Grudge 2003 in there.
No, that's fine.
I definitely go with that.
Now hear me out. Just one scene in particular, okay? Which is the opening scene. Which is the opening scene when she goes up in the loft.
Oh,
and she looks around. That scares the shit out of me even to this day. I don't care what you guys are thinking when you listen to this. I have not gone up in the loft on my own ever since. And this is 2000. That last shot when she's got the lighter around and that white face is behind her all the fucking time scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah. Honestly, that film, I saw that in the cinema. My brother saw it with all my friends and I didn't get to go. And they were all going, it is fucking horrendous, mate.
Yeah, the rest of it's okay, but that scene in particular, I have to make an honourable mention to that.
I could not sleep that night after seeing that. I honestly I sort of enjoyed it, but hated it at the same time. It was just, creepy, man.
Yeah.
Any more, Tim?
Oof. All of Lynch's movies.
There you go. Steve, any more?
I don't know, not all horror films, are they? No.
Well, we've obviously done, like, Halloween, Friday the 13th on our series and stuff. I mean, there's sort of the generic slashers, but there's honourable mentions.
Evil Dead as well. Don't forget Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2, definitely.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's the scary part. The Velociraptor scene is fucking terrifying.
I guess that is a horror film, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Park, yeah.
Too right.
Yeah.
You see the Lego? You saw the Lego?
Yeah, I was like, it's like monsters are horror. It's a monster, isn't it? Yeah, dinosaurs. Monsters. Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't sure because I'm going for that whole Jaws thing now. I was like, wait, is that horror? And then there's Jurassic Park or Jaws.
Yeah, there's definitely horror elements to Jurassic Park, especially the Velociraptor scene is fucking terrifying, man.
Lost Boys.
Well.
Oh shit! Okay, you know what?
Too late.
All of what was it mentioned? I think I'm the only one that mentioned a vampire film. Okay, no one's mentioned a vampire film or a Dracula movie.
What's your favourite vampire film? Then?
That's a tough one.
Always like Bram Stoker's.
Right, I'll go with mine if you guys don't want to say anything.
Fright Night, probably.
I was going to say Fright Night. Fright Night, the original, is my all-time favourite vampire film of all time.
As
it
a
used
kid,
to be Interview, but I like Fright Night more.
The Interview with Vampire is a fucking good one. I do like one. Fright Night, maybe because I watched it the most as a kid. I think I watched that more as a kid than Lost Boys. Like, it was those two films, like that and Lost Boys, was the two vampire films of the 80s. Like 80s genre that I used to watch growing up as.
But do you remember me saying about why I like Scream? I used to write screenplays and stuff.
Yeah.
So I used to write screenplays about the person next door used to be like a murderer or a monster or something, and then obviously Charlie Brewster, his neighbour is a vampire, and that's why I kind of like relate to it a bit more.
Yeah, it reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window.
Yes, totally. Yeah,
which I like that aspect. So it's Rear Window meets Dracula, which is cool.
Cracking soundtrack as well.
Yeah. Very 80s.
Steve, favourite vampire film?
Oh, Bram Stoker's.
The Gary Oldman one.
Sorry?
The Gary Oldman one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
It is good. I remember...
it's a bit... I know it's a bit like...
Over the top,
yeah. But
and Keanu Reeves' amazing British accent.
But do you know the part when he turns into the bat, like the human-sized bat? That was all Gary Oldman's idea.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted that done. It's why it's not a very long... It's not a very quick scene. But when he's in it, Gary Oldman wanted to have that. He read the script for it because I think he was just meant to be like old and decaying or something at the time. And he's like, no, I want to be like a bat. Yeah. Because I think after that he turns into rats or something. Yeah. In that scene. But yeah, it's like, I want to be a bat. If I'm never going to be Batman, I want to be a human bat. It's a damn good scene though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
So I think we'll leave it there, guys.
Try the other ones. Yeah.
Any more?
No, that's it.
No, you sure?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, first off, I just want to say a big thank you to the two of you for coming and doing this Spooktacular again. Thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate it.
It's been brilliant.
And thank you to you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed the Spooktacular season in October.
Indeed. Yeah.
If you enjoyed what you listened to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B. Podcast or on Instagram at M.T.V.B. Podcast. Subscribe to be notified when future episodes are available. This is Ant-Man, Tim, and Steve signing off.